kind of Quinn's fabled champion, so I think that's not a bad ban from them.
Yeah, always gotta be wary of top champions, mains, one tricks, all of those type of things. If they get their champion, then that can make them a lot better of a player. And I should know because I'm a little bit of a one trick myself. Enjoy the Lux, but I've played a lot of competitive, and I can really tell the difference between me playing the champion that I play all the time and me playing a champion I'm not so familiar with. So banning away comfort champions. It seems like a lot of comfort champions here being banned is with the Blitzcrank as well. And Yumi's just an annoyance.
Yeah, but Yumi definitely getting like the friendship changes does make her obviously not as much of a CC bot, but the healing component to the champion and the best friend bonus really can be quite brutal. But Zeri taking that away from Fearless, that's definitely one of his signature champions as well. So they really did their homework on looking into the enemy team. I think that
Yeah.
J4 is a good takeaway. Very strong AD jungler coming out of this, and Cataclysm is just such a consistently strong spell.
Yeah, always a good jungle pick. Blind in particular, you can use him, but also with good team
Mm.
comps. But we have a champion that's hitting the rift, finally enabled after being out for a few weeks now. Any insights for us on Melio VerdantChaos?
Okay, so right now, Melio is it like started out as a 50% win rate on the release, but then 3 days later it was hotfixed. Then it dropped down to a 50% win rate. Emilio at start was like almost like a better Lulu, but now he's significantly worse, is super vulnerable to hook champions. So first pick Emilio, I think, is overall a bad option. And I think they're gonna get punished in draft wise with the Nautilus coming through.
And I like the Jinx response as well because one of Melio's best pairings is with Jinx. So being able to take that away means it's going to have to be something else. The Samira, an interesting one because usually the best way to utilize Melio's range extension is by picking a champion that already has pretty long range. But with the Samira, you kind of want to have a champion that can set up a CC. So I think there's going to be a lot of emphasis in this lane on being able to land the knockback onto an actual champion instead of hitting the wave and then landing it for some poke.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you have to hold on to it. The second you expose yourself and you open yourself on that, Nautilus is just going to be throwing that anchor and grabbing for you. But we're going to be seeing both these junglers coming out. Zach, obviously, very good at counter jungler, but just has been a consistently strong tank. But Udyr going to be the response grab. Udyr hasn't seen as much play with just a lot of the indirect, not indirect, just the nerfs to both his R and to Demonic Embrace, but you still can go with a lot more of the kind of old traditional builds for Udyr if need be.
Yeah, I think that gotta respect that champion coming out though. There's still some strength in the Udyr. Even if it's not like insanely broken, there's still a lot of good situations to have him. I think with the way that the bot lane is shaping up, there might be a lot of ganks going that way. I like the Zac and Samira synergy, so I think that for We Strike First, they're gonna want to play around that, particularly in the mid game. But MiSFiTS can try to attack it early on with the Udyr. You can set up the hook with a good stun from the bear form Udyr. If he can get the stun off, then that means that Samira can't wind wall the hook, and then all of the follow up can land. So I like the response being the Udyr. If it could have also been something like a Rammus Volibear, but definitely going to get a lot of value with that pick.
Yeah, sadly, I think that Volibear, okay, obviously good into Samira. If she's able to get her R active, you're able to point and click stun her, which is quite effective for your team, able to peel that away. But sadly, like his win rate just doesn't reflect. Like I obviously very good for comp, but it hasn't done the greatest. But we're going to be seeing a Sion into Yasuo pickup. I will be interested to see what they pick because you technically could throw Yasuo in the top lane, can kind of handle him. All right, that's going to be an Aatrox going up a Sion. I think that's a good, definite counter pick.
Yeah, gonna get some value there, but the blind Yasuo, an interesting one. I would like to see MiSFiTS lock in something tanky in the mid lane, or even throw that Scion towards the mid lane himself. Uh, could have been like a Cassante. Although that said, you have to be able to play the champs. So if Quinn feels more comfortable on a mage pick, then Aurelion Sol gonna be scaling up all right. Not gonna have as easy of a time in the lane against the Yasuo though. So that counter pick just cements MiSFiTS as the scaling team here. And the Aatrox, I think that you want to be able to land the knockups to set up the Yasuo and Samira. But I think that there could have been easier champions to land knockups with. So I'm really excited to see if Festive can get big value out of the triple Qs to set up the rest of the team with the knockups.
So right now, initial thoughts before anything else. Who do you think has the advantage coming out of this draft?
Well, I think that there's a lot of opportunities for MiSFiTS tanks to stack armor here. I think that the only real magic damage that they're up against is the Zac. So as long as they can stay even throughout the early game, I think that they're going to be in a pretty good spot. I do think that they will be giving up prio in the mid and top lanes most likely. So the best chance for We Strike First is going to be to focus around the top side in the early game. I'm always a fan of playing the less complex draft, the draft that has an easier win con. So I would give the edge to MiSFiTS.
I think that's fair. I think that's definitely a very fair point. Right now, I think it will come down to you kind of technically do have a triple threat coming in from MiSFiTS. You have the scaling option of Jinx, Scion, and Aurelion Sol. If I kind of to further go off your point, if they don't throw those options, they are just inevitable juggernauts that will just start to pump out too much damage. And it won't matter if Zac can just jump in there, get some of these airborne procs, and Yasuo could potentially follow it up. You just if they're too tanky, they're too tanky. You can't do anything, and they'll blow you up. But I think it'll very much come down to vision to make sure you can spot out that Zac, because if Zac can get a lot of early effect with the Yasuo, that could spell disaster.
Yeah, that's definitely going to be the duo that we want to see working towards the early game advantage. I think that for We Strike First, if they can get early Rift Heralds, if they could get one like right at 8 minutes, then that would feel pretty good for them. And they should have some ability to go towards that top side of the map. I'm not sure how I expect Crazy Mimi to play out the Melio. I think that it's going to be difficult in this game, but you kind of want to get some roams off to counteract the possibility for Toxic Eden to be roaming on the Nautilus. Maybe find some cleanses with the ultimate if you can get to that point. But I think that it's going to be hard to enforce any early pressure in that lane. And Melio doesn't seem like the most roam focused champion either. So they went for it early on. I'm hoping that they have a game plan around it that I just don't see yet.
So a few other points I think that needs to get brought up is that for Milio's ultimate Breath of Life, the only there's not too many stuns you can get, or basically CC options you can get out of. You can get out of Udyr Root, you can get out of Jinx's Chompers, but the cleanse is not going to be too helpful. There's just effectively a bunch of knockups and slows from that point on. So you get rid of some of that, but I don't think that's quite effective. But then also, We Strike First is 80 centric. There is little to no magic damage. Okay, Zac obviously does some, which Zac does percentage magic damage, but there's not a lot coming in from We Strike First. So this could be a little bit disastrous if the three separate tanks on MiSFiTS builds armor. That's going to be quite tough for them to chunk through.
Yeah, I would definitely like to see an early Thornmail coming out on the Scion pickup here. I think that Leaky Wallow can definitely go that direction in the 1v1 against an Aatrox. I think that you kind of wait until later stages in the game to start picking up big armor stacking on Udyr and Nautilus. You know, you're focused on getting your clear at its highest speed when you're a jungler. That's how junglers think. I know they're just all about, all right, how can I use my time best? So if you're gonna rush tier 2 boots, you know, you're not gonna get into that stacking quite as quickly, but still can get to that point. And I think the earlier that they can get there, the better, but they don't really have to go for a ton of plays to make it happen. They just have to make sure that they're counteracting anything that We Strike First is going to do.
Hey, amen. Just got to get that moolah, baby. Be it a jungle bane for 4 years, you always got to be chasing that bag, getting that money. But I do have to agree with your earlier assessment of having to go for Rift Herald with 13.6 kind of neutering the stats of dragons overall. I find it to be a quite negative tempo grab to go for it. So looking for a Herald, I think, could be quite strong for both teams, obviously. But I think We Strike First will have the better roam potential.
That's definitely what we want to see from them. But hopefully we're going to get a close game here in game number 1. Hopefully we set the table for a series and a season for these teams that is hopefully an exciting one coming up. I think that there should be some good 5v5s in this game. So I'm looking forward to it.
All right, don't go away, ladies and gentlemen. After this very short spectator delay, we are going to get back to the Rift, grab some popcorn, grab a friend, and we shall see you shortly. Hello, everyone. We are getting into it. We are going to be having MiSFiTS on the red side, and we are going to be having We Strike First on the blue side. Baba Yaga could be in trouble.
Ooh,
just getting him around that wall. Singularity coming out.
Nice flash. Nice flash. Well done to get over that wall there. I think that any longer waiting on the flash probably going to get ignited, hit with another chunk of damage, could have fallen, but able to find the perfect angle to just barely get over the wall there. Any earlier on the flash probably fails it short. So well done. But summoner spell down means that that's a pretty gankable lane.
Also, Baba Yaga did not get a back off, so we'll be starting this lane with probably about that 60% health marker. So could be a little bit scary for them, especially if they're starting in this first brush.
Yeah, got to be careful with that. Not even going to be leashing here. So I think that at this point, you just chug the potion. You have it there for a reason. You might as well go ahead and get your health back. It's going to be difficult anyways, but we'll see if that ends up leading to a kill.
Finding that Edan's going to get the root onto Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga, getting quite health at low, is going to finally have to chug that pot, but now is just going to be forced off this wave.
Yeah, that feels really bad, and I think that they're gonna have to be careful. I don't think they know exactly where Macau is, so I would expect them to be playing pretty deep under their tower. Riprox is in the area, so they could go for a counter gank if they expected to be dove under tower. Gonna have to see. Oh, there's the flash forward.
There's going to be flash forward, exhaust used on Baba Yaga. That's going to be exhaust return used, but that's going to be ignite. Will he burn alive? He will not. He will live. Last tick wearing off.
Close one there. Fearless not able to quite find the angle on the zapper, but still playing aggressively here. That's all summoners down for MiSFiTS bot lane, though. So this is a perfect angle to re-engage. Going to be spotted out by a ward here. But the health bar is at least high enough for MiSFiTS that they're feeling confident to stay in the lane, trying to continue pushing forward and get this wave crashed.
So an important thing to note is that Riprox spent a lot of time in the spot lane trying to help his bot lane. Obviously spotted out by that tri brush, but very, very behind his clear by comparison to his counterpart of Macau.
Yeah, going to be about a camp or a camp and a half behind on the pace. Should still be able to catch up. And there's a little bit of dead time after you take the scuttle crab, since the junglers path opposite sides, and then that means that there shouldn't be any trouble catching up there. But the camp respawns will be a little bit later, and that will mean that there's more time for Macau to gank as well.
Oh, it's going to be Hex Flash spotted out by the ward. Will he find the angle? He will not.
Going to be seeing the gank bot here, I think. It's going to be Macau looking for kills. No flash on him, though. He's got Ghost instead and spotted out by a ward. So I think that this is still going to get set up, but we'll see if they can get under the tower.
Right now, there's going to be a Leaky trying to get out of this play alive. Going to be dodging the knockups. Will he be able to get away? That's going to be flash used. That's going to be flash returned by Riprox. Riprox getting the first blood, forcing it out of Cyan, but this massive wave pushing in.
Nicely done. They see Macau on the other side of the map, and that means that they have go time, and now we've got another fight in the bot lane.
Mimi is in trouble. You do have Macau coming in from the backside, but that's going to be flash coming out of a Mimi, and double ultimate used for Macau, but that's not going to be enough to burn them down.
Smart play there by Crazy Mimi, stepping in front, getting hit by the hook to make sure that Baba Yaga is safe, and that means that just the flash necessary to get out of that gank. They are in a little bit of a rough spot. The wave's pushing away from them, and there's an opportunity for MiSFiTS to try to enforce themselves. But we got a regank top.
Yeah, right now, Leaky used the TP to get back into the lane. Is now just going to be absorbing this gank. Going to be thrown back a lot of damage into Festive. Festive in trouble. Slow down. You having to use a flash. Macau could catch this angle. He's speeding up. They're unable to get Festive. But good job absorbing the gank in the top side.
Nicely done there to escape. Riprox staying in the area. But a good counter gank as well from Macau did force the flash out from Festive. So some value for both sides. And both of these junglers just going to be able to go right back into their clears. First Drake is on the map. It's an Ocean Drake. That's always a nice one to get at the first Drake of the game, because it just gives you that extra little bit of sustain in lane. Not sure if we'll see either of these teams head straight towards it early on, but I think that that one, if there's an opportunity to take it for free at least, is worth taking the time to pick up.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I mean, hey, free dragon is free dragon, but we do have a slight lead on the side of We Strike First. They are going to be 700 gold up at this point. Sorry, 500 gold up at this point. Obviously not massive, but that's effectively that first blood.
Yeah, it's mostly going to be manifested in this Bomby Cinder that Riprocks got on the first reset, actually opting not to go for the tier 2 boots just yet. Macau did go for the tier 2 boots, the boots of swiftness in this case, so not heavily indexing into early game armor stacking, but can get there later on as well. So not too concerned about that, just instead wanting to make sure that the clear is as fast as possible so more ganks can happen.
Right now, we're going to be seeing Macau go for this drag, or at least sweeping the vision. He's going to be fully going for it. Not too surprised they were able to shove in that bot lane. It's kind of free and open. And hey, stats will definitely help augment this team overall.
Yeah, definitely got to feel good right now if you're a MiSFiTS fan because they're getting to their level 6s, they're getting to their strong point in the game. I think that they are also going to have to continue playing safe because once the level 6s come through from We Strike First, particularly on Flynn and Baba Yaga, they're going to have to be careful about getting put into the bouncy castle. But I think that they'll be happy just to get to the point where they're starting to be near their first item, just starting to get some more of the value on their levels, on their damages, and stacking up that Stardust as well for Quinn, who's going to be the ultra late game carry on the Aurelion Soul.
I mean, you do also have like the late game carry of just Jinx. Like Powder does a crazy amount of damage in the later portions.
Absolutely gotta get those early buffs for Arcane Season 2.
Oh
I
yeah, yeah.
haven't heard any is that announced yet, but it's
It,
surely coming.
it was announced at the after the first one. Oh, okay, we're not getting into a fight. It was announced, but I don't know what the date is. I'm excited for when that is. So
Level
that's gonna be
6s.
flash in from Edan going down to Baba Yaga. Gonna be get the knock her out of the ultimate, but that's gonna be Edan going down. Crazy Minds gonna be picking up that kill. Will Fearless be able to trade back enough damage? That's gonna be flash used in by Baba Yaga. Wow, the Super Mega Death Rocket just getting enough damage to take down Baba Yaga posthumously, but that's going to be a double. That's going to be 2 dead on the bot side of Fearless and on MiSFiTS.
Yeah, gonna be a nice play there from We Strike First, able to get a few kills. But a good response from Fearless means that, as far as the AD carries are concerned, a pretty even trade. Crazy Mimi gonna get a little extra value. It'll be interesting to watch the build path here on the Melio. I think that it's gonna end up being something like a Shirelia's, but I'm not sure how much value that he can actually get out of any of the mythic items.
Yeah, right now also I think this is going to be quite interesting to see what he does go for. He will just go for the CDR and for the boots. I'm also surprised to be seeing Moby boots on a Nautilus. Like I obviously you do want to roam on Nautilus, but uh I think you do need someone down in the bot lane to help Jinx. Otherwise, Baba Yaga and Mimi will be able to just constantly dive.
Well, here's someone to help out bot lane. It's Quinn and Macau coming in. We'll see if Toxic Aiden can get back to the rest of the team. Gonna be pretty far forward here, but the rest of the squad is coming.
That's going to be Campfire used early on. That's going to be Riprocks flashing in, getting in the damage in there. They unable to pick up Edan yet. There's going to be Falling Star used. They're going to be trying to get onto Fearless. Will he be able to get away from this? He's going to get caught up, knocked up. That's going to be right into Flynn. Singularity unable to get much more here.
A nice elastic slingshot coming out from Riprock, setting up the last breath. Going to be able to find the perfect target there onto the Jinx. And if that becomes a theme here, I think We Strike First are going to be in a really good spot. couple plates going to go down to the Rift Herald here in the bot side. And meanwhile, top side also getting prio here is Festive. So doing well on all sides of the map. Almost going to be able to solo kill Leaky Wallow.
Yeah, Leaky Wallow has to watch out. He does have some armor in this, but I think we're going to be seeing an Eclipse obviously come out before the Sunfire Aegis is fully built. So you might have to just commit to the... Oh, okay, that's a close look. I'm like, you definitely want Bramble or Plated Steel Caps to just kind of help this lane in the top side. I don't know if going for this full Sunfire Aegis is going to be the best play here.
I know that a lot of people like to rush Bramble Vest when matching up into Aatrox, not just on Scion, but on like a lot of tank champions. That's just what you go. Interesting to see that not be the call here for Leaky Wallow. Maybe feeling like the wave clear is required. Maybe going to go for more of a split push focus build, get a hull breaker, get, some damage items to help attack the tower. But I think that it's going to make the 1v1 a lot more difficult in the early stages.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, even Plated Steel Caps, just to have like the extra movement speed to just get away from some of these Aatrox combos so he isn't just hitting you with like 3-4 abilities like in a row, I think would be very much a boon for the top side.
Well, that's not the world we're living in just yet. But meanwhile, in the bottom side, we are starting up a second Drake. The Drake stacking, surprisingly, is starting to be the win condition here.
It's gonna be Dredgeline used, but Edian's gonna sacrifice his life for this dragon for the side of MiSFiTS, and they're gonna get the second one. The Mountain Drake is going to be the soul for this game.
That definitely helps against mainly burst focused team composition. I think that there's some DPS that you get from Yasuo and also from a Samira if you can chain multiple ultimates in a single team fight. But they're going to have a difficult time already getting through the tanks if this game goes late. So it's going to be even rougher if they're up against a Mountain Soul. But conversely, I think that the Mountain Soul also would be really helpful if it was picked up by WeStrike first. They would be able to survive maybe long enough to avoid giving a reset over to Fearless.
Ooh, that's going to be a flash in, trying to go down to Baba Yaga, but the Elastic Slingshot going to be pushing Fearless away. He's going to get exhausted. Edan in trouble. He's going to be going down. Baba Yaga is going to be getting the pickup. Macau is trying to help his teammate get out. Fearless trying to put damage into Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga flashing away, dashing back in, getting the ARG off, ripping through their team. And that's going to be a double kill for Baba Yaga. That might be a triple kill. I spoke too soon. Yeah, there it is. And that's going to be a massive bot lane for the side of WeStrike first.
They really are striking first in this game, VerdantChaos. It's been all WeStrike first all game long. Baba Yaga picking up a triple kill under the bot lane tower. Going to mean that the tower itself will fall as well. And if we check the individual gold, then we can see that it's a 2.5k gold lead in the bottom lane. You can already see that in the completed Immortal Shield Bow. That was such a big item in that last fight, helping the survival of the initial burst. Flash backwards from Baba Yaga, and then the re-engage comes through with the second ultimate, able to get so much healing out. And well played in that fight as well by Riprox, who's now 2-0-4 on the Zac. Definitely getting high value out of that pick.
So right now, it looks like the entirety of WeStrike, right, for the majority of WeStrike first, is going to be heading up for this Herald, wanting to just start taking over on these objectives. Obviously, they've given up the first two dragons, but they have really wanted these Heralds much more. Edian trying to go for Baba Yaga, but unable to catch him out there. Ooh, Baba Yaga poking through a lot of damage. Elastic Slingshot used. Fearless is caught out. He will be able to escape away to the tower, turning back into Mini B, but Ghost used. Macau is unable to find the pickup.
I can understand what Toxic Aiden was thinking there, trying to walk up and land the passive auto attack before going for a hook, because it could have just gotten wind walled otherwise. But at the same time, you can't really catch up to a Samira just by walking, because she's just going to hit you in the face with the Q, and then your Moby boots aren't going to help you anymore to close that gap. That means that Toxic has to turn around and takes about 5 shots on the way out, completely removed from the fight. Fortunately for MiSFiTS, they don't lose any members, but that does mean that they are no longer able to fight for the Rift Herald. They'll be trading it for a little bit of damage on the bottom tier 1.
So looking at everything across the board here, we obviously see that MiSFiTS is in a 6K gold slump at the 16-minute mark. What do you need to do to get back into this game on the side of MiSFiTS?
They just need to slow it down, make sure that they're not giving up too much gold. They're going to lose this tower eventually, probably not right away, but they just need to avoid getting killed. Easier said than done, of course, when you're up against such good engage tools, such good pick tools. But if they can just play safe for, they'll probably have to wait 15, 20 minutes before they'll be able to do something. But if they can close that gold gap, particularly if they can get Quinn on that 2-item power spike for the Aurelian Soul, then they'll start to have some agency and some ability to re-engage, which is how they really need to win their team fights.
Yeah, absolutely. I think at this point, I think it's going to be tough to even go for a team fight in general.
It's going to be a long time.
Yeah. I'm like, Skies Descend it would versus the Falling Star, absolutely a massive help to this, but Scion is getting some far, but it isn't that big by comparison to his counterpart. Obviously, it was countered in lane, so still doing a fairly good job. But for this bot lane, they kind of something left to be desired. But now we're going to be having the third dragon of the game come up.
Yeah, I would just let this one go. I think that you can kind of see all 4 members here. Teleport available for Festive. They got first TP from Leaky Wallow. If they can get on Flynn, it's good.
They're going in onto Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga still alive, ripping through the team. That's going to be a massive shutdown. Going over to Macau. That's going to be a double knockup. They haven't got Rip Rocks yet, but Flynn's going to be dying quickly. Now it's just Festive and Rip Rocks. Festive trying to dash away. Will he be able to get the E over the wall and survive, or will they be getting the pickup here? That's going to be Quinn trying to go for the kill onto Rip Rocks. He won't be able to get away. He will be torn down into the singularity, spaghettified, and they are going to be getting this third dragon. That's 4 kills for the side of MiSFiTS.
That's really nicely done there to be able to get the first TP in and then find a way onto the Fed carry. Once they're able to eliminate Baba Yaga from the fight, then it takes on a whole different complexion. It was 5v4 right from the start. The timing couldn't have been better. And on the back end of that play, now it's sole point in favor of MiSFiTS, who's been trailing all along.
Yeah, I mean, hey, that gold lead went from 6K to about 6K. So, hey, we're slowly chunking it back, and we are now at soul point potential. And if you get Mountain Soul on a 3-tank comp, that could be quite rough, and it would be very hard to blow up Fearless and Quinn.
Yeah, particularly Quinn is going to have a decent chunk of HP with the itemization. And that's going to make it so that you have, instead of you have 2.5 tanks, you have 2.5 tanks. I think Nautilus only ever counts as half of a tank, but now Aurelian Soul going to be another half of a tank, and it's going to get harder and harder to navigate team fights. If that wasn't a winning team fight for We Strike First, then there's some major concerns going on later in the game. Of course, it was a very nice timing with the Skies Descending from Quinn, able to land that onto multiple members in that play. It was a huge difference maker. But even without that, you've got Scion ult. There's a lot of tools, Nautilus ult, trying to start off a fight favorably if you are MiSFiTS. So now they've gotten to the point in their game where they are starting to have this ability to take fights on their terms.
I think another important thing to note is that Leaky was able to get the TP in before Festive, so was able to just have like an extra 3 seconds of impact in that fight versus Festive kind of coming into the party a little bit late. And at that point, you already had Baba Yaga down. So very good awareness on the side of Leaky. But now that the gap is kind of closing, would you even want to risk a Baron, or just that's completely off the table?
Well, I don't think that either of these teams wants to start up a Baron without having at least gotten a bunch of damage onto the enemy team first. Because for the side of We Strike First, they're pretty squishy right now. They haven't gotten a whole lot of tank items. They have Rip Rocks who can soak it up a little bit, but Baron does damage to pretty much everyone that's trying to attack it. So I
Yep.
don't think that they would be able to have a very healthy take, even though they have a pretty middling speed of finishing it off. But on the other side, for MiSFiTS, they take like forever to kill it. They only have Jinx for DPS, and Fearless is only on one item right now. So that's not going to get the Baron down fast at all. So it's going to be very difficult for them to be in a position where they actually want to start it without knowing a lot more information on We Strike First than they currently have.
Speaking of Fearless, we're going to be seeing the Zeal coming out of Jinx instead of. I have seen a lot more Kraken into IE, but going to be favoring the Zeal. Do you think that's going to be going into a potential PD rapid fire cannon, or where do you think that's going to be built?
Oh, that's interesting thought. My initial
Also, now with the
inclination
crit
was
cloak.
Phantom Dancer. Yeah, crit cloak.
Yeah.
So maybe just gonna sit on the Zeal. It's pretty strong for its weight in gold. I think that you could just be Zeal, then you go into IE, and then you finish off. It probably will be rapid fire cannon. I think that when you have this type of range setting, you want to be able to hit from as far away as possible. Make sure that you can play at a safe distance away from Rip Rock's Zac, which is still a pretty big threat, and then get into a position where you can get that DPS throughout the team fight. But I do think that for the time being, that does put a little bit of a delay on any further item completions for Fearless. So maybe this is a window for We Strike First to try to find a fight.
So right now we have 30 seconds till potential dragon. Macau is going to take a fair chunk. They could give up this dragon for free to just take a Baron in response from the side of MiSFiTS. Like, they don't
I,
have to go this dragon. They can give up one if they so desire.
I always like plays like that to try to get advantages in different ways. Utilize the fact that there's a lot of pressure on the map around that fourth dragon to get extra value elsewhere, because you're going to get that value for the next three drakes, not just this one. Leaky Wallow going to try to find the play onto Flynn.
Leaky Wall going into Flynn right now. Flynn taking and going down to half health. Super Mega Death Rocket down. They're going to be catching Edan out in this drag. He's going to get knocked up into oblivion. He's going to get torn apart. Baba Yaga getting the pickup. The ultimate used by Baba Yaga. Sky's Ascend coming through. Going to be picking up Baba Yaga, but that's going to be Elastic Jump, Spring Shot.
Look at
Jumping into the
Fearless.
background.
Look at the spacing.
Flynn's still alive. Fearless having to flash away. Unable to get any of these kills yet. Baba Yaga still alive. The dragon is still roaring through your team, but Flynn and Baba Yaga still going. They are able to get the pickup. That's going to be a triple kill for Quinn. Will he be able to get the penta? He is putting in this damage. Singularity, putting in a lot of work. That's going to be Rip Rock still having the passive alive. He's going to get burned down. Quinn's still going. Astral Glide used. Breathing on them. That's going to be pickup for Leaky Wallow. Going to be chasing off Festive. That's going to be Singularity used. Wow, what an ace.
That fight lasted quite a long time because both of the carries got taken out pretty early on. And I thought that the kiting back from Fearless was going to be what won the fight, but in reality, it was just Quinn who was able to take advantage of that to deal damage to all of the backliners. Everyone got taken very low at the beginning of the play. Then Quinn goes for the re-engage and cleans them all up. It's 4 kills for the Aurelian Soul, and it's going to be Soul given over to MiSFiTS as they are able to overcome their early game woes to get to a very strong point in the game.
Yeah, and this will be Soul. And there still is a gold lead on the side of We Strike First, but they are now going to be starting to try to climb the very difficult mountain of killing the side of MiSFiTS.
It's going to be a tough one. Heartsteel now completed for Leaky Wallow. I think that the side lane plays are going to be fewer and far between for We Strike First. Going to be very difficult to lock down any members of the enemy team, but certainly not going to be able to get onto this Scion very easily. Need like the whole death squad to be able to pick up kills there. And that means that if they do find themselves on the wrong side of a Baron power play, We Strike First are going to be very limited on their options of how to attack it.
Yeah, absolutely. So right now, just kind of looking at a lot of these item builds, see anything funky from here on out, or pretty fairly standard?
Well, I had a little bit of a red flag pop up when I saw a collector second for Baba Yaga.
Yeah,
I think I get it. I think it's like you need to snowball through the early stages of the game, but with the way that some of these recent team fights are going, I think that it's kind of backfired and it's going to be a little bit of a drag down towards the rest of the game. I think that maybe LDR could have been helpful, although Samira isn't the best user of LDR, so maybe that was the idea. Just going to look to assassinate the backline. That wasn't what happened in the last Drake fight, though, so maybe going to have to play the fights out a little bit differently.
right now they are going to be kind of posturing around Baron. There's just going to be a 1-3 one coming out of the side of MiSFiTS. It's going to be matched by a 1-4 for the side of We Strike First. They definitely want to go for some of these flank plays with Rip Rocks having the elastic slingshot, being able to throw them so far into lanes, but they're going to be sniffing something out here in the mid lane and just going to be backing off.
Well, the longer this game goes, the less chance that We Strike First has of actually accomplishing anything. So I would really like to see them try to find some death rush plays, try to group up and attack certain areas of the map. We can see that the vision is deep into the enemy jungle from MiSFiTS. They've done a very good job of making sure that they're going to have the drop on We Strike First no matter what they try. But at the same time, I think that for We Strike First, they're going to have to find a good attack. They almost have to blow up Quinn 100-0 if they want to win the fight, and that's almost impossible to do. And this Baron is getting absolutely shredded. It's go time now or never. We Strike First.
Oof. They're going to just get absolutely locked down, and that's going to be Edan getting quite low himself, but that's going to be Skies Ascend picking up 4. They're now trying to throw in this damage. Quinn going to be running away. Super Mega Death Rocket trying to help him out best he can. That's going to be massive shutdown going over to Flynn. They're going to be chasing down the rest of their squad. Fearless still roaring through their team, is excited, getting a lot of these kills. That is a big kill onto Quinn, but that's just going to be free towers in the mid lane, and you're going to be starting to just pick up a lot of these objectives for the side of MiSFiTS, getting a lot of these tasty towers.
30 plus seconds on the death timers for the solo laners of We Strike First. They're going to be giving up probably an inhib realistically here. Riprock's trying to get onto Fearless.
Ooh, this could spell a dead Gumby. Absolutely. Yeah, you don't get to jump into this at this point in the game. That is a very massive Scion. Fearless doesn't have 2 items yet, but you can't disrespect those 2 tanky frontliners. Ooh. That's going to be a pickup onto Fearless, but that's going to be at the cost of Baba Yaga's life. And now that's going to be Quinn coming in. Mimi is getting blown up. Space Dragon, no care for life whatsoever. Going to be taking this inhib.
Yeah, they could just keep pushing on forward here with 3 tanks now in the mix. They can just go straight for the end. They've got the wave. Going to be able to push back Flynn. They do not care about tower damage. Walking all the way down. Going to try to finish it right here and now.
Ooh, that's a big knock-up into Flynn's ultimate, but that's not going to be enough at this point. Flynn did get a shutdown. Will he be able to get the kill onto Quinn? Quinn trying to throw out as much damage as possible, but Festive going to be flashing after him. You still have Edan alive and hitting this tower, but it's not going to be enough. Festive is going to be getting the pickup. Macau is alive, smacking the tower. I don't know if he'll be able to take it down. This bonfire keeping him going, and that's going to be shutdowns galore across the board.
Yeah, good hold here coming out from We Strike First. They're able to get a lot of gold off of that. But at the same time, now their Nexus is exposed. Elder is coming up in under a minute. They're going to have super minions coming down the mid lane. They're going to have to respond to that. And I think that it's going to be very difficult. But I want to see them go for this Drake right on spawn. They're going to be able to get into the area first, try to push out the mid lane. They also have to be wary of back doors because there's no Nexus towers left. The deepest ward here is that control ward near the red buff of the blue side. But we'll see if that's going to lead to any plays from Leaky Wallow, who has that TP available, or if it's just going to be the fight for the game at Elder Drake.
So important thing to note is that I think they're listening to stream, and we are now going to be seeing an LDR pickup for Baba Yaga, which I think was quite crucial and will be ever so important. But now we are going to be getting into this very tense Elder Dragon situation.
Well, at least there will be a little damage onto the big frontliners here, but
Wow, they're just full disrespected him, just going for this.
Ooh, Riprock's going to try to steal. Good job waiting, but now it's getting pretty low.
Skysen coming through. Stolen. That's going to be a steal onto them. This could spell disaster. Baba Yaga still going, ripping through their team, but Fearless is still alive, but the back door is coming through. Leaky Wallow, will he be able to survive with the second portion?
Zombie time, zombie.
We'll get there. Or is this just enough knockups? He didn't get it. Oh.
So close to that fight was, but it's going to be Elder stolen away by Baba Yaga. Going to be able to buy a little space with this. We'll see if Quinn wants to just run straight through. That could be a theoretic possibility. But if you give the shutdown over, then there's some realistic possibilities of the gold going back the direction of We Strike First. That could be a very dangerous look as they still have Elder Drake on 3 members as well. So Quinn going to play it out safe. Still an advantageous situation overall for MiSFiTS, but We Strike First fighting tooth and nail to stay alive in this game.
So right now with Elder, if they do want to shove it in, go for some of these objective bounties. I don't think it's out. I don't think it's a potentially crazy idea. It is interesting to be seeing objective bounties for the side and for the side of We Strike. Despite them having, okay, they just fell off. I was gonna say, I'm like, they have the gold advantage, but they still had objective bounties active.
Like in my mind, I'm like, that seems correct because they are definitely losing the game right now. But at the same time, like, how are they determining that that is correct? Like, there's nothing that tells me, there's no stat that I can bring up that tells me that this game is being won by MiSFiTS. They have the soul, so like fair, but I just have the knowledge that they're winning based on playing fights out in my head more than anything.
I think we might see like a potential just unstoppable onslaught coming in from Cyan and just run right into that into the Nexus.
Could happen. I've seen that before. Right now, the base defense is once again being set up here. 4-man topside for We Strike First. Nothing coming up here until the Baron in 3 seconds. And that means that MiSFiTS holding this top side of the map makes a ton of sense. Riprock's going to try to go through some of this vision, but going to get tagged by an ulti.
Ooh. That's just going to be an instant kill on Riprocks. And will they be able to just turn this into a kill against Mimi? Mimi used the airborne. That's Shirelia's blessing. That's a massive Skies Descent, just instantly knocking up Festive. Festive just getting burned alive. Quinn in trouble, trying to flash away, unable to get away. But Festive unable to get the pickup. Too tanky for you. That's going to be Flynn going into the backline, getting the shutdown, getting the ace soul. Flynn all by themselves against the world.
Wait,
will he be able to kill them?
1v5?
No, he will not be able to clutch that, and that is going to be your game. That's an ace. No one's going to be back up, and that's going to be game 1, going over to MiSFiTS.
Well, big respect for We Strike First, trying to play that one out. Holding the base twice, but you can't hold it 3 times, and MiSFiTS able to get to their win condition, able to scale up, and Quinn particularly popping off on the Aurelion Soul.
So looking at that game, who do you think was the MVP for MiSFiTS, and then who do you think was the ace for We Strike First?
Ooh, bringing up the ace. Definitely got to put Quinn as the MVP. 10, 3, and 12 on the Aurelian Soul. Had some majorly impactful skies descend coming through. Particularly around that third Drake fight was where I felt things start to swing back in favor of MiSFiTS, and that was particularly well played by Quinn. But for the ace, that's a little bit tough to say. I know Baba Yaga definitely got a ton of kills, but I'd have to go with Rip Rocks. I think that the early game on the Zac was really well played out. Got the team in a position where they were up 8 kills to 1, but they just weren't able to close it out. I think that at the end of the day, we strike first. You're gonna want to go into next game, adapt a little bit to a position where they can kind of pass the baton from their early game to the mid game a little bit more effectively with their draft.
All right, we are just going to push you to a short break. Don't go away. We are just going to get ready for this draft, and we shall see you shortly for the draft for game 2. Hello, everyone. We are back for game 2 of the set between We Strike First and MiSFiTS. We're going to be still having We Strike First on the blue side. They're going to be favoring that, and we're going to be having MiSFiTS back again on the red. So, what do you change in draft? Obviously, it wasn't enough to get over the insane scaling of the MiSFiTS. How do you want to just go for the early game and just try to play that better, or do you want to try to match the scaling?
I think that they probably want to refocus how they're doing their matchups. I think Melio isn't necessarily a first pickable champion. Kind of want to know what you're into. If you're into a lot of knockups, it's hard to get a lot of value out of him. And then you want to be able to put him with a champion that you're going to be able to get the most value out of with the range extension, something like a Jinx or Caitlyn. So maybe change that up a little bit. And I don't mind them going for the style with like Samira Yasuo, but I think that you kind of want to have one of those roles carry and then the other one do a different function, because you kind of have the same win condition either way, but you can support it better with different champions. Like you could go Galio mid to work with that, or you could have AD carry that's something like an Ezreal and get some poke value to set up some assassinations. But I like this first pick Jinx. I think Jinx is just a pretty safe champion to always go towards.
They're going to be picking up Milia on the side of the MiSFiTS, so going to be taking the way of being paired with the Jinx. But, I mean, hey, you could still go with a very tried and true Lulu with the Jinx, who is just a very positive enchanter for her. But that's going to be a silver pickup on the side of MiSFiTS as well. I think this is going to be a very, very safe and steady bot lane for the MiSFiTS.
I think that Sivir as well wants to take some advantage in the early game of a matchup with a scaling champion, because if you can get some good boomerang blades out that land both sides, then you can definitely win out on some trades, and it's easy to tag a little bit of extra damage on at the end with the ricochets. So another thing that Sivir does that's nice is makes it difficult to pick a champion that wants to engage into her, just by the fact that you can spell shield a lot of that engage. Makes it so that you either have to hard commit with something like an Alistar that has multiple forms of CC, or just play something more passive. The Lulu makes a lot of sense here going alongside the Jinx, but I do think that MiSFiTS can get some push with this bot duo.
And so right now, I think that We Strike First is going to just, I mean, you could just pick up Zach again. Like, Zach was quite strong, was fairly effective. I mean, they're going to be taking the Udyr this time.
Stealing the whole draft. Why not?
I see what you got there, and I want it outside of the Lulu instead of Nautilus pickup, but.
Wouldn't it be great if MiSFiTS started stealing champions too, just like locking the Zach and then go into the second half of
I like that Zach. Hand it over.
Yeah, that would be really funny, but I think that they probably just want to close out this series cleanly. I don't imagine that they need to ego here, although I have seen teams ego before and have it work for them or have it not work for them. Instead, going to be going for the Hecarim, always a good complement to the Sivir. Going to be able to get the most value out of that speed that you get with the Sivir ultimate. MiSFiTS this time around praying for Cloud Soul to increase their gains on their speed.
We are going to be speedy boys and girls over on the side of the MiSFiTS. They are going to be respecting the ASOL on the side of We Strike First. I think that is a smart and wise option considering last game.
Yeah, going to be trying to shift some of the priority, make sure that you're not going to get blown up by the same things this time around. But they will be up against the same Scion as before. Now we get the confusion of the Unstoppable Onslaught and the Onslaught of Shadows. Love that for you as a PvP.
Oh yeah, gotta love it. But I do like the Scion pick. Hey, you counterpicked me last time. You had little to no impact with said counterpick. So I'll let you try again and try to beat me in the top lane. But in that last game, I think that Leaky had much more impact than Festive. So I think this is a very good R4 pick. and just save the counter pick for the mid lane. That's going to be Silas grab for the side of We Strike First. There are very good ultimates across the board from the MiSFiTS to take with the hijack.
Show me an Olaf. Show me the true Scion counter pick. That's what you can run over a game with. Aatrox, maybe you can go even in the lane. Maybe you can outskill it. But we saw that attempted last game, so I want to see a switch of the priority here. Try something else out. Of course, you can also just go for something like a Gnar that's just
Darius.
functionally sound, but that's boring. Go for a flex with the Olaf. But instead, just going to be the double scaling, of course. That's sound. It's going to lead to some good team fights, but the early game could get pretty boring here with how it's set up.
It's going to be Call of the Forge God, a very strong ultimate for their side of their team, and the ornaments being able to give it away. There's going to be a lot of scaling now from We Strike First. Going to be taking a lot of those core components and taking it for their own. I think there's going to be a wet noodle contest into the top lane, going to be trading grass for grass, but Ornn, I think, will kind of slowly win out over time because the brittle procs do max health AP damage. So that will start to chunk Scion, no matter how much health you truly build on him. But that's going to be an Azira pickup for the last option for Quinn.
Definitely a champion that's going to see some power in the lane phase. Going to try to make sure that the Silas is bullied out here. But I think that going to be looking to scale up as well. So we're going to get pretty decent scaling on both sides. Could get some explosive team fights. I definitely think that We Strike First is postured a lot better to get into that later stage of the game this time around. They're not going to be in a spot where they just have nothing left that they can try. I think that they do slightly outscale, although the concept of outscaling is pretty abstract in general. I think that they want to get to the later stage of the game at a little bit higher of a level than MiSFiTS. MiSFiTS going to be feeling particularly good about the mid game, I would say. And if they can get a lead once they're going into the Drake stacking, then that's where MiSFiTS showed that they're the most powerful last game. So maybe they can replicate that and get into the spot where they can finish this series out.
Absolutely. I mean, and for the side of MiSFiTS, you do have a lot of repositioning tools coming in from their team, where it could disrupt Call of the Forge God, it could disrupt like Jinx. I think that okay. I think it's gonna be hard for We Strike First to land some of their very crucial ultimates because like you have the Sivir speed up, Hecarim's a very fast boy, you have the shifting sands on Azir, you're able to just constantly maneuver. And Scion doesn't always have to be in there with your team. Scion can just still go split push. And if you have Ornn and Scion just beating each other up just in the sideline and you have the 4v4, I think that MiSFiTS potentially has the advantage in the 4v4.
If they do end up in a 4v4, I'd say that seems pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
A lot of that is on the Udyr. I think if Riprox can get some good stuns out, then that can really change the dynamic of a grouped up fight. But at the same time, I think when you have an Ornn, you'd rather 5v5 anyways. So if there's a situation where MiSFiTS can actually get into a spot where they can force a 4v4, then that's definitely going to be where they're going to be in the best spot. So something like picking up Baron, where you can definitely get some priority in a side lane and start to force, or even Rift Herald for that matter, if you can throw that one down in the side lane, make it so that has to get answered, then that gives you pressure on multiple areas of the map.
All right. And this time we are going to let kind of the play and kind of let the players, let some of them do the talking here. We're not even just going to give you all this pregame analysis. We're just going to wait until we get right into it. We could have a clean sweep for the side of MiSFiTS, or we could have a potentially comeback story for the side of We Strike First. We'll see you soon after this break. Hello, everyone. We are back with game 2. This is going to be We Strike First on the blue side and MiSFiTS on the red side. They are up one game, and now it looks like we are going to be seeing a standard 5-point no early invade this time.
All right, this time no shenanigans. We do have a wrong runes issue for Quinn, but that apparently is not grounds for a restart. And honestly, I think that may have actually gotten the right runes because first strike seems to be the early game advantage that you need against a Silas if you're picking Azir.
Yeah, and definitely still has merit, so it's not like he's completely out of this game whatsoever. But we're going to be having just a lot of, I think for the most part, just a lot of wet noodle fights, but we're going to have both junglers starting on the top side of the map.
That means pathing towards bot could get some level 4, level 5 plays around there. That's something to watch out for. The gank potential definitely there. The setup, not so great, but if there's a good angle to get the play, I think that either side could look for that one.
So where do you think we're going to be seeing first blood, if you had to guess?
Well, I think that we'll get a fight around the bot side river, but I'm not sure that anyone will die. The way that these teams played out last game, I wouldn't be surprised to see that happen. But I also think that the most likely place to see first blood would probably be at the first Rift Herald. That's going to be my guess, anyways, because none of the areas of the map seem all that volatile or kill threat heavy to me.
Right now in this top lane, we are going to be seeing Leaky just get absolutely chunked out by 2 back-to-back Brittle procs and 1 Grass proc coming back into it. But now it's going to be able to play away from this one.
Yeah, just pushing the wave all the way in. I'm not sure that it got under tower, though, so Festive might be able to freeze it in a good spot. That'll have to be a long freeze to actually get a lot of value out of it, because with the junglers pathing bot side, I don't think anyone could really punish it. But yeah, it does look like the wave will be frozen up here. So Leaky Wallow going to be overextended a little bit for quite a while here, presumably.
Well, they are getting some of this poke damage out onto the bot side. You will have Bonfire, so Mimi will definitely need to shield this damage proactively. Otherwise, the can get slowly whittled down.
Yeah, that's one of the strengths of the early game that Sivir has. I like the fact that there's the remembering of Sivir's existence without even having to know the enemy's support. Just using that as a threat in the draft to make sure that the enemy team couldn't pick up and engage heavy champion in that role. I think that that's very well done. MiSFiTS have been drafting well throughout the day. So I'm happy to see that. I'm always a fan of good drafts.
So right now, we'll have no excitement coming out of the junglers. We're just going to be going for standard clears across the board. We're going to be having Udyr trying to show up in the mid lane, gets 1 minion, but then going to be going for the Rift Scuttler. But that's just going to be Macau going back to base, just getting getting a boots tier pickup.
Yeah, we don't even get to see a fight around bot side, just the resets coming through from the junglers, full clears both ways. And it's not that surprising to see from a Hecarim. I'm a little more surprised to see Riprock's not even attempting a gank, but you're just trying to keep up, trying to keep pace. Maybe see if there's an opportunity to pick up some early tier 2 boots, continue to push forward, and then maybe go around the level 6s when there's at least a little bit more kill threat.
Ooh, that was a really good shifting sands away, but Flynn's going to be falling up after it, going to be losing a fair bit of health, but Quinn has no mana left at this point, so is most likely going to be forcing a TP out of Quinn.
Could have popped the cookie, but yeah, gonna just try to go back. Could TP to lane, or could walk to a different area of the map and then try to make a play. But making plays not going to be on the cards for this game, it seems like. Just going to be a little bit of a quiet scaling fest. a little bit different than what we saw last time around. We strike first, particularly playing the game out a little bit differently. Going to be trying to find a first Drake here, so maybe going to see a little action around there. First Drake of the game going to be that Cloud Drake, and we'll see if they're going to be able to take it. Going to be contested.
Uh-oh, that's going to be a pinch. Quinn's going to be coming in. That's going to be exhaust used onto Quinn. Quinn's in trouble, trying to dash away, unable to get over that wall. Quinn quite low, hit by the zap. That's going to be a flash away from him. Scant of health, and Baba Yaga is going to be flashing over, getting the pickup. Edan getting chunked out by himself. Macau trying to help his teammate, unable to do much. That's a push away from Emilio. That Dragon is going to be going over to Rip Rocks, just going to be committing to it.
It was a nice flash by Baba Yaga to get into range, finish off the kill onto Quinn, and that means the early advantage going over to We Strike First. I think that with the way that the resets are coming through, Baba Yaga hasn't gotten to pick up a lot of items yet. I don't believe that you should be behind, but at this point right now, Fearless does have an advantage in the itemization with the completion of Cull and Pickaxe. So if there's any opportunity to make a play, it would be now. But getting the kill onto the Jinx means that there's going to be more pressure available for We Strike First. As the rest of the game proceeds, really should be a lot of favorable situations to find yourself in. The level 6s coming through, the wild growth being activated, that's all going to be huge. So We Strike First is going to be in a very good position around this bot side now.
When it comes down to it, I don't know if like I'm much more scared of wild growth than I am of Breath of Life. Like for like assisting both of these bot laners, and I think that Baba Yaga like definitely getting that kill will just put him up with enough of an item lead that Fearless is going to have trouble in this, because he got the early cull, which will eventually it kind of puts you a little bit of a power trough, but could come out of it. But with that kill advantage, just has his boots, has the dagger matched up by his counterpart, but that's going to be a Noon Quiver versus the pickaxe.
I am a fan of Cull, but I think that with the early kill going over, of course, that's always going to be something that neutralizes any effect that you get out of it. Cull really is most helpful in a situation where neither side is picking up any kills. You just scale up, and then once you activate all 100 procs of it, then you just naturally get a kill's worth of gold. So giving over one kill, not too bad, but if anything more happens before that activates, then it's going to be a much worse spot for the bot lane of MiSFiTS.
Fearless is putting in a lot of damage. This Ricochet doing it work. That's going to be both heals used. Will they be able to pick him up? That's going to be Super Mega Death Rocket eaten by Edan. You have Macau coming through. That's the R. That's going to be Macau getting the pickup now onto Mimi. Mimi having to flash away to get it, survive. Maybe trying to throw back a little bit of damage into Macau, but this is going to be a bot lane shoved in. That's a good pickup onto Baba Yaga. Fearless is going to be able to space it out enough, and Edan eating that Super Mega Death Rocket, quite important.
Yeah, well done there to make the play work out. Able to get a little bit of the on the hunt proc onto Macau as well. Make sure that there's enough speed for the Hecarim to arrive. Leaky trying to counteract a play in the top side.
That's going to be Leaky trying to do the best he can. Will he be able to flash over this wall? He will be able to get it. Rip Rocks is going to be running after him. Will that... Yeah, he is CC immune, but he was unable to get over that wall. Will he be able to get the pickup? Leaky was able to get Rip Rocks before going down, so that's very big for him, giving him 15 extra stacks on that W.
I'm really surprised that Quinn didn't decide to join that fight. I thought that there was definitely an angle there to find a Shurima shuffle and maybe isolate Flynn and get some advantages there. Toxic Eden going to be able to hold the wave and at least allow Fearless to pick it up. Now going to get cleared out very quickly, but at least getting one counter kill there, really well done by Leaky Wallow, able to get it actually in advance before falling, so that allowed 1-for-1 to come through. Still going to be a gold advantage going the way of We Strike First as they pick up the Rift Herald as well as that extra little priority around the top side of the map. So they're going to be feeling good here, but at least it's not as bad as it could have been for MiSFiTS.
Right now, Baba Yaga and Mimi are trying to throw in some of this damage, but Bonfire just being able to consistently heal up Fearless, just really starting to show a lot of its value.
Yeah, getting good trades back and forth for both sides, really, in this bottom half of the map. And it looks like Quinn's going to want to make a play here around the Drake. Got hit by that scrying orb, so I think that We Strike First has the knowledge of where he is, but he's still going to look for a play.
That's going to be Macau with the massive ultimate into the stream of shuffle. They are all stacked together. The damage coming through. Will they be able to pick up a kill yet? That's going to be massive ult steal from Finn, pushing them all away. They're quite low. It's going to be ultimate in from Fearless.
Fearless trying to run them down, but now the turn back onto the Drake. We'll see if a re-engage going to come through. The auto camera wants to see top lane instead, but I think that the Drake is the spot where the play is going to happen.
Oh, yeah. Leaky is getting low, but that's going to be Flash in. Festive going to be getting the pickup with the Brittle proc, the Super Mega Death Rocket getting the pickup. That's going to be and Quinn getting that grab, but he is then exhausted from here. Fearless going to get run down by the excited Baba Yaga with the red buff. And that's going to be 4 deaths on the side of MiSFiTS across the board.
When we last checked in, it seemed like the fight was won for MiSFiTS. They were able to get such big health bar leads. But I think that during the Dragon take, they all got pretty low, maybe allowing the AoE to hit multiple members. And that meant that the re-engage was good. Baba Yaga back to near full health for that one. Ooh. Now we're going to see if Leaky Waller can get the counter kill. No mana available for Festive.
It's going to be Pop of the Shield. That's Q coming through, and that's going to be the return kill onto Festive. This Noxian Terror is going to keep getting bigger and bigger.
That is what he does. He always stacks that health up strong. Leaky Wallow going to be in a good spot now on the back end of that kill. 2 kills in the top lane. That's what you want to see if you're a MiSFiTS fan, and that's maybe their angle in this game. Once again, rushing towards the Sunfire Cape, but definitely a better option here than it was in the first time around.
There's going to be Rift Herald used in the mid lane, and now the Stream of Shuffle has been taken from Azir. So we could see some action in the mid lane. Fearless and Baba going at it in this bot lane. Are they able to get this kill? Breath of Life used. That's going to be too much healing. That's going to be heal used by Baba Yaga, but is going to be going down, unable to go for the 1v2 despite the level advantage.
A shutdown going over to Fearless. That'll help with the completion of first item. Got to try to match up with the gold levels, and I think that should be the Kraken Slayer here on the reset. Not quite. Going to come up just a bit short. Needed the call to complete first, but not going to be quite there. Still, though, getting that shutdown means that Fearless is a little bit back in the game. Going to definitely scale up to be a quite valuable member of the team. Macau in pretty deep here.
Uh-oh. That's going to be an ultimate use for Macau to get out of this dicey situation. Good awareness.
Trying to steal away some camps, but that does mean that there's going to be a little bit less utility available on the Hecarim, a little bit less gank threat. No big objectives on the map right now. Rift Herald coming up in a minute, so that should be back up probably in time for any time that you would want to see a future fight. So not a big issue there for Macau having to throw that one out. But at the end of the day, good awareness by We Strike First to collapse on it and not allow their jungle to be stolen away.
So important thing to note is that for the side of We Strike First, they still have the gold advantage. Obviously, with the kill, they are able to get the dragons. Uh-oh. The Fearless and Baba Yaga trading back a lot of this damage. Baba Yaga definitely getting kind of low. Super Mega Death Rocket eaten by Edan again, but Macau's coming in from the sidelines. Hello! That's going to be Baba Yaga getting the pickup. Is excited, able to get the double kill. Will Macau be able to run it down? Will be. Now it's going to be Macau versus Mimi. Mimi trying to get away best they can, but that is going to be a red buff onto the crazy horse. And yeah, getting shoved back. That's Mimi just getting whirled upon.
Macau in a very good spot now from getting a few more kills in the bot lane. Has been kind of picking on him. Nice disengage from Quinn, but 2 for 2, honestly, a pretty decent spot for We Strike First to be in off of that play, because getting 2 more kills onto Baba Yaga gonna feel good, and also they're able to send the rest of the team towards the top side of the map, get this Ripped Herald as the counteraction, and that means that they get a little bit more gold advantage off of the play, though having as much of it as they do onto one member means that they are in danger in some of the team fights of just losing all of their gold advantage right at the beginning if Baba Yaga gets soloed out. So maybe that's the angle that MiSFiTS want to look for.
So right now, Macau has been also a little bit sneaky. Has given up a lot of these objectives, but then is just trying to run around, absorb as much farm as possible. Udyr and Riprox has been doing a great job at getting a lot of this farm themselves, but is at a negative situation for kills.
Yeah, not far behind on the gold. Already first item completed is the Demonic Embrace. Getting those nerfs a while back has dissuaded no one from picking that as the first item of choice. We'll see if this Rift Herald going to be invested bot. Could go mid as well. Of course, no plates now, so it's not going to be a matter of getting as much gold as it is a matter of finding more map pressure wherever it goes down. But maybe going to try to set up for this Hextech Drake that's about to spawn wherever they put it down.
If they are able to get Hextech Drake, I mean, that is a lot of very beneficial stats for everyone across the board, giving the attack speed and the ability haste. I mean, for Sivir, a lot of times we've been seeing like multiple build paths into the Kraken, into possible Navori, or it seems that it could be PD. But if you're able to give the attack speed and ability haste over to this already kind of fed horse, that could be brutal.
Yeah, definitely the assassination build coming through from Macau. Not going to be too worried about being a frontline. Just the job in this game is to finish off Baba Yaga as fast as possible. 3 Drakes already going over to We Strike First, though, and Hextech Soul is not one that you want to give over easily. So I think MiSFiTS going to want to fight for the next one. Currently, just counter jungling as the response, but I would expect to see some more fighting coming up here pretty soon.
Yeah, giving up soul point it already is kind of crazy to be seen, especially with how active the horse usually wants to be in this early game.
Yeah, definitely once you hit that level 6, I would expect to see a little bit more activity. The spot tier 1 going to fall. That's the first turret to go down with the game, so not a
Jinx
lot
is excited and just ripping through them.
Yeah, not a lot of stuff going down through the early stages of the game in terms of objective towers, but more of the neutral objectives has been the case, which is why we're only getting the first tower now. But that means that the gold isn't that big of a differential between these two teams. Of course, having the 2,000 gold advantage on the team that also is about to spawn their soul coming up here in 4 minutes definitely means that there is some power level difference, but I think that it could have been a lot bigger of a difference if there were more towers being taken.
Yeah, and also having the 2,000 gold advantage on the team that has Ornn. Just being able to play for this late game already has the unspoken parasite himself, and obviously when you get level 14, that's going to be Wormfall and Sacrifice.
Yeah, that's gonna be a pretty big power spot. Gonna be able to get into a DPS situation where not only will they be threatening in a team fight, but they're going to be able to take objectives pretty quickly. They're going to have a possibility of sneaking some pretty early barons, and right now they're going to try to set themselves up for it by pushing out the mid wave, although Baba Yaga still pretty squishy. Got to be careful about walking into some Azir soldiers.
The Shreem and Emperor is not messing around. He will He will absolutely just lay out a bunch of damage. Baba Yaga having to flash away and use a heal. That's both sums out just for the Shurima Shuffle.
Nicely done. And Fearless has the ultimate still available. They could just go for Baron here. Baba Yaga is all of the gold advantage that has We Strike First. Baba Yaga going to be very nearly dead here, burning very low. We'll see if they're going to turn towards the Baron at this moment, trying to push out the mid wave, but I think that they want to start that one up.
Yeah, I mean, right now you do have Quinn, who is quite low themselves. They do have the shifting stands, which will be able to speed them ahead, but you have the Shurelya's Blessing coming through. That's the unstoppable ultimate coming in. Flynn's able to pick up the kill onto Quinn. Wow, what a call. What a call, Forge God here. That's going to be a very close play from Leaky, able to get over the fat wall with that flash.
And it might be the counter take. This is on Vision, so they got to be careful. They know that it's been started up, but without any of their key ultimates, there's no way into this pit for most of the side of MiSFiTS. No blast cone either, no flash for Macau. You'd have to run all the way around to get in there. So this one might just be free for We Strike First. I liked the idea of going towards the Baron, but the turn wasn't fast enough. Lynn did a great job of stealing away the onslaught of shadows, going straight in, and Macau's turn wasn't fast enough. Quinn ended up getting blown up right away, and that means that it's a big lead coming through for We Strike First. Going to be on their Soul Drake here in just a minute, and with Baron to set up for it, I think they're going to be in a very strong position to push us to a game number 3.
Yeah, so I don't think they're going to be going in for Rip Rocks here, but they might see. Okay, they are just going to be committing in for Rip Rocks. Rip Rocks is going to be having CC Immune, just going to be running away from this. If they waited a little bit longer, they could have gone for Mimi, but that's going to be a massive push. Baba Yaga in trouble. Wild Growth used on him, but he's going to be going down. That's going to be the shutdown going over to Fearless, and they are going to be.
Going to be setting up for this Drake, and with the teleport towards topside, it looks like We Strike First is fully decommitting from it. They're going to push up 2 waves. They might get 2 tier 2 towers, so it still could be an advantageous trade for them, but at least MiSFiTS keeping this game alive. Leaky Wall are going to try to come back and defend at the tier 3. Quinn going to be here as well, so they will be able to push this wave out. Azir with a pretty strong wave clear going to be able to go and take these minions out, but they are leaking gold on the other areas of the map. Tier 2 top already down as well, and I like the attempt here from Baba Yaga trying to throw out the Super Mega Death Rocket. Maybe you steal the soul. Doesn't happen this time. Good secure here for Macau, and getting one Drake back, that at least gives a few more minutes to try to get back into this game, get a little bit more equalized. And now we've got an invade engage.
Ooh, that's good. That was a good push. Another thing to note is that they waited long enough just for enough towers to fall that they were able to get the objective bounty to immediately go on to the MiSFiTS. So they were able to give 600 gold to everyone across the board.
That's pretty big. Pretty big to at least mitigate some of their losses. Still going to be down by about 5,000 gold.
Yeah.
And right now, the itemization pretty good for We Strike First. Macau going to try to come in here. Festive, very tanky, going to be hard to take out.
Ooh. Ultimate used a little bit early, unable to stop the second portion of Call the Forge God. They're just going to be shoving in this bot lane. But at this point, Ornn has not given out any of the ornaments. He's sitting on 2 of them at this moment.
Hasn't been with the team, I guess, but definitely could be adding to the threat that We Strike First have with this Baron push. Instead, going to keep on holding the top side.
I think this might come down to either a crazy engage from Flynn or a really good Shurima Shuffle, but we now have Leaky Wallow going to be having to run back towards the top side, just Festive, unrelenting on this top wave push.
I think that MiSFiTS could have had a lot more threat there if they hadn't burnt a lot of their key ultimates trying to chase down Festive. Right now, they still have no unstoppable onslaught or onslaught of shadows. They can still look for a play. Shurelya is going to be popped by Toxic Aiden. trying to push back the side of We Strike First. It's going to work out. Wave clear still pretty good for the side of MiSFiTS. They got the double Shuriman Emperor bloodline coming through. That always will boost your wave clear to unthinkable levels. But I think that they're just sitting back now, hoping that they can get to their late game breakpoints.
So right now we have the 5K gold deficit for the side of MiSFiTS. What do they need to do to get back into this?
Well, they've already started out the right way. They've made sure that the Hextech Soul didn't go over immediately. They stalled out the Baron without giving up any inhibitors. They've been clearing waves. They're trying to get to their high CS win conditions. Now they want to get into a position where they can farm safely in multiple different lanes. It's going to be hard to get into 3 lanes, so I think that it's respectable for them to just try to hold on to 2 and allow the wave in the bot side to push into them before they want to pick it up. But I do think that they're going to have to fight for the next Drake in minute 45. So that's where we'll really see who's going to be in position to win this game. Hold all of your key spells for that one. Either side should be doing that. And I think that we're really going to have a good sense of where we stand in the game once we determine who takes that Drake and who wins the fight.
I think that it maybe might be paramount at this point that Festive at least goes and just sees at least one team member. Like you were sitting on 3 ornaments to hand out, and that's a 30% increase in all of your HP, MR, and armor. Oh, that's gonna be Macau going in onto them. Will he be able to get the follow up from his team? As unable to get Rip Rocks, having to force the ultimate away. Call the Forge God coming through, getting 3 knockups. Flynn's jumping into this back line. That's going to be a kill onto Macau. Leaky trying to help his team peel off, but he's getting caught up in the thick of it. That's going to be Flynn jumping into the back line, getting a lot of these kills. He will get shut down, but now Leaky dead himself. Quinn surviving. No, he is not. He's going to be going down. That's an excited Jinx. Jinx is going to be getting the pickups, and that's going to be full ace against MiSFiTS.
Yeah, that could just do it here. I think Baba Yaga going to shred down the rest of the base. 16 seconds on Macau. That's the last hope. Got to survive for that long. It looks like We Strike First going to peel off, go towards the Drake instead. But I think that if they are around the Drake, this could get a little bit hairy because it's not spawning for another 15 seconds. That's going to be right when all of MiSFiTS is respawning. Teleport available for both Quinn and Leaky Wallow. And Riprox is going to be late because he died to the tower there in the mid lane. We Strike First going to try to take this on spawn. Looks like the answer is going to be around Baron instead. Going to try to trade Baron for Soul. If they can pull this one off, MiSFiTS could be in a lot better spot. Teleport coming in deep from Flynn the Kid. Going to try to push out the mid wave. It looks like MiSFiTS are going to fully commit to this call. We'll see just how fast they can take it. Riprock's trying to get back out on the map, but it's going to be Baron just about finished off here. We'll see if the steal comes in. Baron for Soul. What a play from MiSFiTS.
Uh-oh, this could be troublesome. Call the Forge God coming through. That's going to be missed by Festive, but Macau's going to be dying to Baba Yaga. Will Quinn get away? That's going to be stopped. He's going to be unable to get away from Rip Rocks. This is too much slows. That's going to be Quinn going down. That is massive there, and Fearless now chunked down to half. Leaky trying to do the best he can to get away. That's going to be Unstoppable Onslaught. Needed to be used. Get away.
That's a lot of tools gone. I think that taking the Baron still has a lot of value, but great Super Mega Death Rocket just to interrupt the recalls. Riprock's able to get there in time to stop them further. 2 kills go down. They're going to try to take out this inhib tower. It's going to be difficult with the backdoor bonus, but they do get it done. They're trying to push forward once again. They may try to end without or up against the Baron buff. No, they're just going to take another inhib. 2 inhibs now in favor. That's going to at least mitigate how much this Baron can push forward for MiSFiTS. But I think that the Soul is the end of the day winning plan here for We Strike First. They're going to try to stall out the Baron and then start utilizing their Soul to start sieging out some towers and set up for the end game buffs coming up.
Absolutely. I think that the Hextech drag is kind of the proverbial nail in the coffin. It increases a team's chance of winning by 92.1%. Like the team who gets Hextech Drag has a 92.1% chance of winning. Like so just like already having that buff in itself is just obviously massive, but you still have the scaling. I mean, Festive still has one more ornament to give out at this point, but once he gets level 17, he is just going to be too massive, probably for the side of MiSFiTS. You don't have an LDR on Sivir, so he's just going to be too chunky. You don't even have a Void Staff on the Azir, so he can just continue to just survive through effectively everything, I think, at this point. And you're just playing for time with just a lot of this wave clear with Sivir and Azir.
Yeah, I think that it's difficult, but I would have wanted to see more taken on the back end of getting the Baron buff for MiSFiTS. If they wanted to make the trade more even, they just about had to get.
Just gonna be taking Milio down there.
Yeah, that might just about do it. Going to be so much damage. Jinx just going full Arcano style. Going to try to finish things off. Leaky Walla pushing in the top lane, but that's going to be of little consequence against the push coming through 4-man strong in the mid lane from WeStrikeFirst, trying to seal the deal. This is the last stand for MiSFiTS.
We're gonna have to see something crazy out of Quinn here, or I think this is game over. But that's gonna be called the Forge God coming through, gonna be knocking up a lot. That's gonna be not enough with the Shurima shuffle. Festive just gonna be pushing off Fearless from this tower. It's Leaky Wallow all on the front line by himself. Will he be able to do enough? That's not gonna be enough. Ghost coming in from Macau. Unable to find Baba Yaga. Baba Yaga just being able to kite this out. Leaky just trying to get some of these procs from Heartsteel. Not enough. That's in him. That's the game for game 2. And we are going into an exciting game 3.
Wow, well cleaned up here by WeStrikeFirst. They're able to get the soul, and that's all they needed at the end of the day. Baba Yaga popping off on the Jinx, 10, 4, and 5. Had the Wormfall and Sacrifice, in addition to several other key items. And that was enough to get us to game number 3. I think WeStrikeFirst definitely happier with their draft for game number 2, and they looked a lot more coordinated. So I think that they have shown that they are definitely alive and well in this series.
All right, we are going to just push this over to a very quick break just to get ready for a draft for game 3. Don't go anywhere. We shall see you shortly. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are now getting into this is the final game of this set. MiSFiTS versus We Strike First. MiSFiTS is going to be on the blue side. We Strike First is going to be on the red side.
Definitely an exciting conclusion to what's been a back and forth series. We Strike First were out to a pretty hefty lead at the beginning of game one, ended up giving it up. They got outscaled by Quinn's Aurelian Soul. And then game number two, We Strike First had pretty even early stages of the game, but they stacked up the Drakes, got to the Soul, and finished things out. That means that we are going to a decisive game number three. MiSFiTS this time around are swapping over to the blue side, and that will give them the first pick advantage. Let's see what they want to prioritize.
Right now, I think that you had... Yeah, okay, that's going to be Jinx taken away from the very capable hands of Baba Yaga. I think that's a good pickup here. I'm going to be interested to see what they pick in response to this.
Jinx from Arcane, 100% win rate in this series. I do like the adaptation from We Strike First, banning away the Aurelian Soul. That means Katarina is left open, but since you can't pick her on R3, she's got less value. I think that you need to be able to ban out the Katarina counters if you want to lock her in. Know what you're up against at the very least. So I'd imagine that we will end up seeing Katarina get banned on the fourth or fifth ban from We Strike First, but reprioritizing because of how big of an impact that Quinn's Aurelian Soul had in game number one.
Absolutely. They're going to be picking the Lulu and Udyr. They're going to be saving the ADC pick for a little bit later in this draft, but I think Lulu is a good takeaway from MiSFiTS. Obviously, we saw the impact of Lulu and Jinx together, but it's going to be interesting to see what they pick with Jinx this time. I think it's correct to move away from the Milio. Milio, in both games, has found little to no impact compared to their support counterparts. So I think Razan, wow, words are hard. Rakan is going to be a good pickup for the side of MiSFiTS, being able to just dash in, get some of the charms, or have the disengage if so desired.
Rakan definitely fine to lock in here. I think that he's going to be a champion that is working more towards the late game scaling side of things, which makes sense with the Jinx. Jinx not the safest champion on her own, so that limits how much you're free to roam, which is something that Rakan generally likes to do. But I do think that it's just fine if MiSFiTS can get some priority in some other lanes. I would fully expect to just see a Zeri locked in here if she wasn't banned. But what champions do you like alongside the Lulu outside of the Jinx and Zeri?
Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw is very effective. I mean, as of right now, is a little bit obviously vulnerable to Rakan being able to dive into him for the engage, but with Trundle being picked up, the only that's not as killer as, like, let's just say like a Vi, a Wukong, where it's like this is okay, they're gonna be going for Kai'Sa, but for like Vi and Wukong, that's gonna be effectively condemning the ADC to get knocked up. There's very little option they have there, but Trundle isn't going to be able to pick them out as much, but it looks like they want to play for a front to back. You get the subjugate onto the Udyr, and Udyr will have a hard time surviving.
Yeah, playing for the jungle 1v1 here. Macau has been pretty resource heavy on the jungle champions, going for a lot of full clears on the Udyr and Hecarim. I think it's understandable the first time through on Hecarim, but I would have liked to see a little bit more aggression. That said, Trundle good at invading, particularly into a matchup where he's going to have advantages in the 1v1, particularly after level 6. But I'd like to see it followed up now with some more champions that can win lane. I think that MiSFiTS have kind of stumbled into a winning bot lane because Kai'Sa Lulu has about the least prio of any bot lane that I can think of. But I think that for MiSFiTS, they want to follow this up by finding some strong solo lanes as well, set up these invades, and put the resources into Macau if you're not going to have ganks coming out to put the resources into the lanes themselves.
Right now, I think for We Strike First, you want to pick your top laner. Like your top laner hasn't been dominant. Like when they had the counter pick in the first game, they didn't just absolutely freak out. Okay, yeah, there they go. I'm like, I think that's a good pickup for them. You did have the mid laner at what's his name right now? I'm forgetting it
Flynn?
at the moment. Flynn, thank you. I'm like, Flynn has found a lot of impact throughout this set so far. So I think saving the counter pick for Flynn is quite efficient. So it'll be interesting to see what they pick up on the side of MiSFiTS. I think right now you have a lot of melee people who want to run up on you in engage, but they have fairly linear movement. I think Syndra would be a very good, like Syndra or Victor would be a very good pickup for the mid lane.
I'm a fan of Anivia myself in situations like this, but I definitely think that the champions you said are also viable options here. Going to be a Shen response to the Aatrox. A little bit interesting to see that because with Shen, usually what you want to do is go into matchups where there's a lot of the damage coming from auto attacks so that you could just put up the Spirit's Refuge, dodge them out, and then win out just about every trade. Aatrox gets a pretty decent chunk of the damage out from just landing triple Qs. So that means that a lot of the damage is still going to go through, even if you do have the W up on Shen. Not that he's going to lose the matchup, it's just not going to be as advantageous in lane. And you're looking to just pile onto the Jinx at this point. It's the Jinx carry train, so fair enough.
We're going to be seeing a Rise picked up in the mid lane. Effectively across the board, I have casted a lot of stuff for at season 13, 14, and now 15 here. I haven't seen Rise in any of these sets, so I'm excited to finally see. I think Rise showing up. Obviously, at one point he had that abysmal win rate, but he's slowly been working his way back into viability.
MiSFiTS throwing everything towards the bot lane carry situation here. When you lock that Jinx in first, that makes sense. Fearless going to have a lot of pressure here, but I think that the rest of the team going to be there to help them out with multiple global ultimates with this Stand United with the Realm Warp. They're going to want to be able to make plays around that bottom side or maybe rotate their members around, get prio in different areas of the map throughout the game. I think that there's some potential for MiSFiTS also to send a squad topside around 8 minutes, try to pick up the Rift Herald. But We Strike First, locking in the Victor last pick, trying to get some advantages in the mid lane and scale alongside MiSFiTS while also having some threat of getting push in the lanes.
So right now, just looking at both of these comps, who do you think has the advantage coming into this last game?
Well, I'm a big hater of Kaisa plus an enchanter, so I think that bot side is very weak into the Jinx Recon. I think MiSFiTS have a good winning game plan, but also I think We Strike First kind of have gotten back into the situation that they were in game number 1, where they've got some winning top side of the map. Even though they didn't get the counter pick in the top lane, I still expect Festive to be able to win out on that matchup. And then Victor and Rise should be pretty good as well. So if they can get some advantages there, I'm holding on the same things that I said in game number 1. But that's just kind of the situation that we're in. Baba Yaga has popped off in a few games though, so maybe we'll get to see against the grain a Kaisa carry here coming through.
All right, I'm also kind of excited to see how Trundle is going to be playing this out. Obviously, Trundle will beat any person on the side of We Strike First in a 1v1. Like for the most part, like you obviously you beat Udyr in the 1v1. Subjugate just very strong. Aatrox, you beat him. You're able to kind of move around, have the accelerated move speed, being able to dodge and weave through the skill shots. I think that Victor is just going to be able to space him out, but then Trundle can just run away. So I think that Trundle is going to be a very difficult thing for the side of We Strike First to really effectively neutralize.
Definitely a strong champion here. Going to be a lot dependent on the execution, I think. Macau, definitely an aggressive player trying to find some invades. But I would also like to see some kills coming through this time. Hasn't been the most gank heavy in the early stages of the game, but there's definitely a more kill pressure in all of these lanes than we've seen in the previous games, particularly the bot lane. You've got the Rakan now, you've got the Engage, should be able to look for some kills if you can force them to overextend. But even in mid top, you've got some CC to help set up towards the ganks. And Trundle has enough damage himself that if he can ever get into a situation where maybe the enemy laner has to flash, he can flash follow, then you can still finish up the kill. Taking kills yourself on Trundle feels good. Just a lot of good reasons to be fighting early in this game for Macau.
All right. And as we wait for the spectator delay to wear on down, we are going to be seeing you back on the Rift. Don't go anywhere. We shall see you shortly. Hello, everyone. We are here for the conclusion of the set between MiSFiTS and We Strike First. It is going to be MiSFiTS on the blue side and We Strike First on the red side. They pushed in for this early ward to just see where the jungler is going to be starting on the side of MiSFiTS.
Going to be able to get that information, and with that knowledge, we'll see if they're going to be able to recognize where they have strong points on the map, where they need to be playing safe at any given moment, and maybe where they can attack, try to get some kills. Definitely want to see some invades coming out from Macau. As I said before, want to see some 1v1 between these junglers. And it's going to be important for every lane to get some prio so that they can help out with any of these fights that could start to happen in between the jungle.
So Charnel is going to be starting on this top side and is going to just be instantly spotted out and known. So that will kind of dictate to Rip Rocks what exactly Macau wants to do.
Yeah, should be both sides knowing what's going on because of the vision. So well done there. I think that we're going to get 4 camp, 5 camp ganks towards bot maybe. I'm hoping that we at least get something. We've had a little bit of quiet early games coming through, particularly last game, but definitely have some potential to get a little bit more aggressive here.
I think with a lot of these early game picks from the side of MiSFiTS is very likely to get a lot more frisky.
That was some nice footwork there to dodge out some of the sweet spots by Leaky Wallow, able to stay even on the trade. Bot lane not going to be any kill pressure from We Strike First, so that means that they don't even get all that much damage down onto Fearless and Toxic Aiden. I think that it's just going to be jockeying for position as the junglers move towards this direction. It is going to be a 3 camp from Macau, most likely. Going to try to get here first before Rip Rocks can arrive.
Right now, Baba Yaga is being able to get a lot of this poke off successfully. That's Ignite used onto Baba Yaga. Will he be able to kite away from this? That's going to be Macau on the top side of that. That's going to be a flash through. The pillar used to slow him down. Baba Yaga in trouble. That's going to be exhaust used onto Fearless. Baba Yaga get the heal off. Yeah, that's not going to be enough. That's going to be first blood going over to Fearless.
Nice job there by MiSFiTS, knowing that they could get there first. Ended up being a 4 camp from Rip Rocks, ends up being just a bit too late. I like how Baba Yaga tried to play that one out, almost was able to live, but ended up falling at the very end there. Almost finished off Fearless as well. So good response there. A lot of investment towards the bot side, but it pays off with Fearless being able to get first blood.
Right now, we don't have a full Noon Quiver on to Fearless, but is going to be picking up a lot of the components. Going to be that 300 shy of that, but definitely in a very strong position now for this lane.
Yeah, going to try to be able to reset and re-kill, I think, is the main objective. Continue snowballing through this lane when you've got this advantage, and it looks like they've got the wave state positioned pretty well for themselves. It's starting to slow push. They've got the Drake coming up in just a minute, so if they can be crashing a double stacked wave here around that time, then they can start stacking up the Drakes pretty early on. And with the prio around the bot side from both junglers, we're going to see both of the teams playing with a little bit of respect to each other, but definitely going to be favoring MiSFiTS with the way that the wave is positioned.
There will be a vision blackout for the side of We Strike now for the bot lane with Trundle coming through, and he's just going to instantly repeat. Coming in with the pillar, Mimi in trouble. That's going to be Polymorph already used. That's going to be a flash coming out from Mimi. And good awareness on that. And now that's going to be Rip Rocks going into the top side jungle of Macau. And it's going to be finding the wolves here after using this blast cone.
Yeah, that re-gank not able to find any kills, but now able to set themselves up well for the trades.
Baba Yaga taking a lot of damage here in this play, having to just start chugging through a lot of these potions.
If Toxic Aiden can land a grand entrance here, Fearless does have Flash available to follow it up. But I think that it's going to be difficult to do. They should probably just want to slam this wave in and get a reset off. I think that should be a way that they can get the wave to bounce back. And with the Drake being taken, I guess that they're fine with the wave being extended out. It's not like they're under any threat of getting ganked themselves. And first Drake going to go over to Macau. MiSFiTS striking back after not being able to take any Drakes last game by immediately picking up the first one this time around.
So right now we have just kind of obvious, as we kind of were talking about in the pregame, kind of that just wet noodle contest up in the top lane. Likiwala is going to be building up some of these. Oh, I maybe spoke too soon. Okay, building up some of these grass procs, but he's going to be having level 6 soon. The Stand United could definitely start warping some of these fights in the bot lane.
Yeah, I think that maybe if we're generous, we can call it a dry noodle contest. Still don't think that there's going to be a lot of kills happening up there, but the kill pressure is there if they can get some support. Ganks coming through towards the top side definitely can pay off with a kill. We'll see if there ends up having to be any summoner spells blown early on, but with the amount of focus around the bot side, there hasn't been any time to go for ganks top side.
Right now, Leaky is just not respecting Aatrox whatsoever. Goes for the Giant Spell instead of the Bramble Vest.
Yeah, probably going to be the same build again. I wouldn't be surprised if it's just going to be a Sunfire Aegis first, trying to get a little bit of extra pushing. Now, I don't think that would actually be right.
I was going to say, I'm like, I don't think Giant Spell goes into that. Yeah.
Yeah, you're going to... Wait, Giant Spell doesn't go into Sunfire Aegis? I guess It goes into Heartsteel. That's probably what I'd imagine it'll be, because you want to go Heartsteel, Titanic Hydra.
Yeah.
Going to be, anyways, a slight attempt there towards the top side from Riprox, but not overstaying. Wants to get back out, farm camps. That's what's been the case from a lot of these junglers in this game, trying to just make sure that they're not falling behind. Going to be another focus towards bot side. Riprox has arrived. No flash available, of course. Got the ghost instead. So that means that there's nothing to be found there. Just more camps to do. And going to get a little invade off to try to get vision. Maybe see if there's some camps you can steal away in exchange for the Rift Herald.
Is going to be taking the Red Titan Sentinel here for the side of Macau, but I think I'm very much willing to give red buff like up every single time to go for Rift Herald, like especially a pre 14-minute Rift Herald. That's just so much gold going over to MiSFiTS.
Yeah, you're essentially trading a 200 gold swing on losing a camp for likely getting 300 gold and being able to put a lot of it onto your carries. So I'm in agreement. I think that's a fine exchange. We'll see where it ends up getting dropped. Maybe gonna set up for the next Drake with it as well. Getting 2 early Drakes has shown to be a good thing throughout the series.
Flynn's going to be having to use the flash here. That's going to be a flash jam from Edam. They're going to be throwing through a lot of this damage. The wild growth going to be used on Baba Yaga. That's going to be Super Mega Death Rocket. Put in enough damage, and Fearless is going to be getting the pickup. Baba Yaga unable to get out.
Nice closeout there by Fearless, able to finish off the kill, even though the wild growth stopped the kill from coming through on the Super Mega Death Rocket. Flash forward, plenty of damage to finish the job. Fearless now 2-0-0. Only player with kills in this game, but maybe not for long.
There's going to be a pillar coming through and pushing him back. The Chaos Nova is going to be used by Flynn, but unable to really get enough return damage. And could be dropping the Shelly, into the mid lane. That's going to be a lot of damage to be giving over to Rise, who could very much potentially be a carry for the side of MiSFiTS.
We definitely saw Quinn carrying before in game number 1. Looking to do so again here. Doesn't have to be carrying super early on. Plenty of time to just get to the 2-item power spike with how far ahead Fearless is right now. But at the same time, always good to get gold into the inventories of your carries. So well done there. Doesn't use it to set up the Drake, but should still be Drake Prio going in favor of MiSFiTS, as they have the push bot whenever they want it. And apparently they can get the push mid as well, as we're starting to see the first items come through here onto Quinn, and presumably pretty soon after onto Fearless.
Also, I find it crazy how long Festive has actually just stayed in lane. Like, went back for a single longsword and a health pot once in the 11-minute period that we've been here. But we're getting into the action. Mimi is going to use the polymorph instantly, but that's going to be Riprock's in trouble. Fear going to be slowed down. Are they able to get the pickup? Riprock's going to be going down. Fearless is now excited. Has the killing spree. They get the pop-up over the wall. That's Baba Yaga going down. That's a double kill onto Jinx. She has 4 kills right now. At the 11-minute mark, she is massive, and they're going to be able to go and grab this second dragon.
Haha, funny gun go burr. Ends up getting 2 more kills. Ends up picking up the Drake. That means that the advantage is starting to get pretty big in favor of MiSFiTS, up 3,000 gold. And let's just have a look. It's only 1.3k of it on Fearless, which is less than I'd expected, but still quite a lot. And the rest of the map, they've got advantages pretty much all around except for top lane.
Right now, Baba Yaga just in kind of... Ooh, that's going to be Edan in trouble now. He's going to be jumping over to Macau. They will be following it up. That will be the choppers. Grab through Baba Yaga, having to use the ultimate. Fearless getting quite low. That there's very close to a massive shutdown going over to Baba Yaga. They would have maybe given him lifeblood to come back into this game if he gotten it.
Would have definitely helped. I mean, they probably need more than just that, but getting the shutdown onto your Kaisa, always a good thing. I think if the Void Seekers had landed, that would have been a kill. Just one more stack of the passive would have gotten a ton more damage. But fortunate there to survive for MiSFiTS, even though they were going for a pretty deep play.
Right now, have we... I think I'm like... Have we seen a successful Stand United go through? At this point, I think that he has started Stand United, but then was instantly stunned out of it, so he didn't like teleport to across the map.
Well, was it Stand United in the last Drake fight, or was it teleport that came through? I know that Leaky Wallop showed up from the top lane, but I didn't remember which it was. Ended up getting there somehow.
It's probably Stand United into the TP back to top.
I'd imagine, but it hasn't been majorly impactful, largely because MiSFiTS just hasn't needed it. They've been winning their fights already without needing to put any sort of pressure from the Shen. Obviously, it feels good to get assist money when you can, but not too concerned about that. You can just continue farming up in the top side, get to a later stage of the game.
Bot lane's in trouble. Riprock is going to be coming in from behind them. Will he be able to pinch them enough? He will not be able to. That will be the charm onto Riprock. Riprock's now getting chunked down to half health, but that's a good disengage by Tox and by Edam. Having to use the ultimate, though.
Did have to commit the ultimate, but got a good chunk there, and crucially made it safe for Fearless to walk back through. They responded to it quickly enough that there wasn't a lot of follow-up available from Baba Yaga and Crazy Mimi anyways, but I think that getting the button order correct from Toxic Aiden definitely a strong suit here throughout this whole game, really, honestly. Just good recon play coming through.
They have Rift Herald coming up. This is the first time that Macau isn't like in this game, that Macau just isn't instantly or like within a 30-second window of being at the objective.
Well, he's definitely going over there now. The whole squad rolling up. I think that they should have it if they want it, unless it's going to be a 5-man commit. But how would you bring Baba Yaga and Crazy Mimi from the bot lane all the way there? Riprock's going to get...
That's going to be Subjugate coming through, and Fearless is going to be using the Super Mega Death Rocket, getting that kill. Flynn having to flash away at this point. And this is just going to be another objective going over to the ever greedy hands of MiSFiTS.
Able to pick up one plus the Rift Herald. Going to be able to use that to push towards mid. They sent the first one mid, got a few plates. This time around, they could pick up the rest of the tower, finish what they started. And I like the rotation as well. Quinn immediately walking towards bot. Didn't have to commit all of their members to pick up the Rift Herald itself. So they're able to cover all sides of the map, not give over any counterplay. And MiSFiTS starting off very strong in game number 3.
So we have Jinx going for the Zeal grab immediately again. I think it's just going to be going Zeal into IE, which getting that movement speed, very strong.
Yeah, got plenty of extra gold for it, so no worries there.
Yeah, no doubt.
Think that's just fine, and probably just the build that's suggested somewhere. This is an algorithmic play that's been coming through from Fearless, so no surprise to see it again. And going to be the IE next, presumably, just continuing to rain that damage down as always. Lots of good targets here to be shooting down. And when you're at 5-0-0, you can just kind of land your damage onto anyone. It's kind of a protect the Jinx game from here on out. Like to make sure that Leaky Wallow holding the ultimates to make sure that they are keeping Fearless safe.
It's going to be Herald dropped into the mid lane, but you do have Eden with the quickness. You have the Stand United come through. Will it be enough? That's going to be a lot. Bit of damage coming through. That's going to be Festive in trouble. Will they be able to get the pickup? He's going to be going down. Fearless is getting the kill. Now it's Fearless is excited, throwing in a lot of damage. Eden getting the knockup. The Stand United going to keep him alive. Mimi is going to be going down. That's a double kill for Fearless. He's going to be running after this team.
Oh, Fearless going for it all.
Oh, yeah, there it is. Will they get the full ace? Do they get the clean kill? Yes, they do. That's just going to be an 11-0 at this point. At the 17-minute mark, that's going to be a free dragon, free towers, everything going over to the side of the MiSFiTS.
And that's a massive swing. I respect trying to go for that play if we strike first. They were only down about 3,000 gold. They wanted to interrupt the Drake stacking, but it ends up backfiring in a big way, and largely because Tiger58 able to cut them off of the Drake. They got it down to about 4,000 HP. Then it got reset because the quickness comes all the way through, lands onto multiple members, able to get a good grand entrance as well. And then on the re-engage, Leaky Wallow comes in with the Stand United, makes sure that Tiger58 still healthy, Fearless, able to shoot from safe range throughout the entirety of that fight. And the full 5-for-0 ace means that MiSFiTS in a commanding position in this game.
At this point in time, obviously they have a very strong early game from the side of MiSFiTS, but with all of like this early advantage just funneled into a massive Fearless, this is gonna be tough for the side of we strike first to come back into this.
Look at Leaky Wallow's build. He's finally realized that the Bramble Vest exists. Let's go. He's gonna be able to win the 1v1. And I think that's going to shut out just another way that we strike first would have wanted to try to attack this game. Looks like Festive still able to get some value there in some of the combos on the top side. But it's difficult to get to a point where you can actually take this Shen down at this point. Heart Steel available, can always get the procs from that. And then getting towards that Thornmail. I think that you just go ahead and complete it. I don't see why not. Looks like he's going to go for tier 2 boots first, but just the full tank Shen build should be just fine.
An interesting thing to note is that you have an Iceborne Gauntlet on Festive. Like I think that's quite interesting to see. Not saying it's like it's useless, but you definitely see a lot more of a Gore Drinker and or Eclipse onto Aatrox these days.
Yeah, maybe just trying to be a little bit of extra frontline throughout team fights. I think that with Udyr being your only other frontline, you've got to be able to survive. But that just means that they have so much less damage to try to threaten onto the back line of MiSFiTS that it's just kind of free to start trying to take this Drake. Quinn in a great spot here right now on the 2-item breakpoint, and it's just gone. It's going to be free Drake from MiSFiTS. They'll walk straight back out and look to continue sieging out towers and collapsing towards the base of We Strike First.
That's that's just that's nearly a 10 that's 8k gold deficit for the side of We Strike First. Just the bot lane mismatch of Kaisa Lulu trying to hold it down in this mid lane, but I don't know if they have enough wave clear to really stop a Baron push at the 21-minute mark.
It's going to be very threatening as soon as it does come down. A little bit of a delay trying to get the resets through, trying to get the waves synced up, but they should be able to start threatening with this next push. I think they'll be able to take the mid tier 2 pretty easily. Leaky Walla probably going to be able to take the top tier 1 as well. Going to be contested by Festive, but this one's starting to get near where MiSFiTS can start to threaten the base.
Able to shove this in. They do have better poke on the side of and We Strike First with the Victor and the Kaisa, but I don't know if it's necessarily going to be enough.
Yeah, they're just trying to hold on for dear life right now. It's going to be Soul coming up here shortly as well. This game's pace has just been accelerated over and over again. 22 minutes, and have to find an answer, but there have been no answers thus far from We Strike First. They're just going to have to defend first and then try to get out onto the map. But it's going to be easier said than done because all of the major abilities up for the combat from MiSFiTS. They have everything that they need to go for the final push in this game.
That's going to be Macau just going for the soul of this game. Going for that pickup. That's going to be at phase rush out of Quinn, but Quinn's just going to be able to turn it and blow up Rip Rocks here.
Ooh.
Right now, Kaisa trying to throw out a lot of this damage. It's Fearless here to back it up.
That seemed like the best chance there from We Strike First to find a way to contest around the Drake, but they aren't even able to kill off Gwyn because he's too tanky right now, able to just flash out of it. Toxic Aiden able to set up a re-engage, and that means Drake down, top tier 1 gonna fall as well. It's just going to be a methodical push throughout the map here from MiSFiTS, continuing to utilize this Baron. It's about to fall off now, but I think that they've gotten exactly what they wanted out of it, and it's the Chemtech Soul.
I don't want to be too doom and gloom, but it looks like this is potentially just over for the side of WSF. They put up a strong, valiant fight so far, but it's going to be taking a miracle and a half to come back into this one.
Definitely going to be an uphill battle from here on out. And it's not like they have the best tools to set up plays either. They kind of need to find stuns coming out from Festive and Rip Rocks, but they aren't very long range stuns. And other than that, they don't have any ways to attack. And the range is going to be very strong here for the rest of the game for MiSFiTS. They've got the distance to use Jinx rockets to deal damage. And if anyone comes into closer range, you're just going to get machine gunned by the Rise. You're going to get charmed up by the Rakan. This has been a very solid game from MiSFiTS all around. My thoughts exactly.
Yeah, I'm trying to like, what's an angle? What's something you can do to come back in? It's like, this is just.
It's not happening if MiSFiTS don't throw hard.
Yeah. I'm like, I think this is just for MiSFiTS to lose, but I think they're just gonna go 1-3-1. They just play this consistently. Have Macau just kind of drifting back and forth, but just if you keep everyone as spread as possible, I mean, you just have more gold on your team. So, I mean, Rise, right. If you have a paired up against Flynn, he'll beat him. You have a Leaky against Festive, they'll punch each other back and forth. But in the mid lane, if you try to throw Rip Rocks into Fearless with Macau in the area, that Subjugate is just going to rip him apart. No questions about it.
All right, here's content for you. What minute mark do you expect this game to end at?
Oh, well, it seems that MiSFiTS is just gonna take their time and not really go for a quick end, despite the massive advantage. So I'm gonna say this goes to 31.
Think it's going to be a fight around Elder and then close
Yep.
out?
Yep.
I think Baron's going to be enough. It's not going to be like right away, but Baron coming up in 30 seconds. First one was free. This one should be freer. I think that there may be something on the mind of MiSFiTS that I'm not going to bring up, but I think that they just want to take the Baron and slowly push towards the end. So I'll go with 28.
Okay, I'm gonna go with 20, 29, 18. I'll redo my
29,
answer.
18. I'll go 28 flat. I'll just go 28
Okay,
flat.
okay.
All right, we'll see who's closer. Chat, you can get in on this game too. See what time that this game's gonna end at. Baron gonna be started up here. Could be miracle stolen by Riprox, I guess. Doesn't have flash to get into the pit, but is walking up right now.
They're just gonna be walking away from this river. Yeah. Ugh. Edan's gonna be going, no! That's the first death of the game. This isn't gonna be a perfect game, but this is just gonna be Jinx running everyone down. Murder spree incarnate. Now, coming in onto Festive, having to use the flash to get away, use the dash, but the pillar's gonna be stopping him. And now it's just Flynn all by himself. Flash out from Macau. Flynn. Everything against the world, but this is just Gabe.
With no perfect game left to play for.
All right, Flynn, please hold on. Please hold on till 29-18. I need 29-18. I put all my money on this. I need to pay off a mortgage.
Back up. Maybe they can contest. Toxic Aiden not here. We'll see. But I think that you can still try to go for the all-in. Bringing the wave in here. But it is going to be cleared out. Next wave not going to be coming in right at 28. So I'm a little bit
Macau's pinging Elder. They're going to be going for it.
All right. Maybe you're onto something here. We'll see if the fight comes through. We'll see if MiSFiTS can win it. I think that they should be able to, but they do have to execute. You can't win the game if you don't hit the enemy nexus until it dies. So
it seems that Rakan just BM flashed.
just trying to bring down the wrath of his teammates even further, but just sitting around trying to find more kills.
Yeah,
you know how it is.
You threw our perfect game. You died. What the heck, man?
How could you? How dare you? Still have Baron to push up the mid wave.
You don't have Fearless with you for this fight yet.
Indeed. Toxic
Eden has the quickness, so he will be going in for it. He won't. The only pickup he'll be finding is Riprocks all by themselves, but that's going to be double taunt on the top side of this. Baba Yaga is going down to Leaky. It's going to be a kill there. Fearless is now excited. That's going to be TP in behind them. They are pinched. That's going to be 4 of them. The Wild Growth coming through, unable to save them. They're dying left, right, center. Flynn's the only survivor again. But that's going to just be quickly caught up. The pillar going to be too much.
All right. You were a little too early, too, but we are going to see the close here. Baron buff still empowering the minions for another 30 seconds, and that is at least 15 seconds more than they need. Toxic Aiden just going to run it down, gets killed once again, but that time just by the Nexus Tower. And that's all that we've got here. MiSFiTS closing it out with an immaculate game 3, if not a perfect one, able to prevent any objectives from going over to the other team. So still had a shutout of sorts and just played front to back extremely well in game 3 and definitely were the deserving victors in this series.
So in that one, that was just a dominant finish. Because before they were kind of very closely contested, going back forth, but that last one just just a stomp, just through and through. Can't really say much about that. But in kind of a post game breakdown, who do you think was the MVP for MiSFiTS throughout the entire set? And then who do you think was the ace for We Strike First throughout the entire set?
All right. Throughout the entire set, I thought that Quinn was probably their best player in game number 2. It was hard to find wins for them in game number 2, and now in game 3 they have wins on all sides of the map. I mean, Fearless, of course, played a great Jinx, but I definitely think that all of the members of MiSFiTS deserve some respect here. Um, I guess that it's hard to find a single member to pin it on. So I'll just go back to game 1, where the game was a lot closer and Quinn clutched it out on the Aurelion Soul. I think that was the difference maker as far as the series goes, because of how much game 3 was a stomp. So I'll give Quinn the credit on the whole series. And for the whole series, I still think that Rip Rocks was probably the best player on We Strike First. Baba Yaga had some good moments. Crazy Mimi had some good moments. It's not like anyone had a completely awful series where they didn't play well at all, but I think Rip Rocks probably stood out the most to me.
I have to agree. Definitely the ace for the side of WSF is going over to Rip Rocks. It was very consistent throughout the entire time. Maybe like some second options goes over to, I would say, Mimi or Baba Yaga. They did a very good job throughout. Actually, no, I take that back. Flynn was very consistent throughout all of those, despite obviously like losing lane in was the first and the the first game and the third game, still output a crazy amount of damage.
Well, hopefully we'll get to see these teams on the Rift again. I was entertained thoroughly by this series. I hope everyone that joined for today's match was as well. I think that we got rated, so thank you. What's it called? LBLCS, low budget LCS. That's right.
Yes.
Thank you
again
for the
that
raid.
Question: and would you guys want to see an interview with any of the members of MiSFiTS?
Ooh,
I'll put that up in the chat, because I can definitely orchestrate that if anyone is willing to do that.
Well, definitely a good series, no matter what the case is. Maybe we go into break and see if they want to go for the interview on the other side. It looks like someone wants to come out and give us that. So, well played series to both teams if you're tuning out. So, appreciate you showing up and have a good evening. But stay around if you want to see an interview.
All right. I am able to get Edan for this interview. All right. Here we are. She'll be in here shortly. What a crazy edit. Like, I thought this last game was going to be just like super close, but we were like just so close to just a perfect game coming up for MiSFiTS.
Yeah, it was so close. It was a close game. It almost was a perfect game. Do you want to just take the interview yourself?
Yeah, I can do that.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining me here on the for this event.
Yeah, thanks for running the auto host, and it was definitely a good time casting with you. Be happy to do so again in the future.
All right, have a good night, Tiger. Thank you very much for joining us.
You too.
All right, I accidentally sent the wrong link, so I'm going to be redoing this again. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, for the delay on this. Hello, hello. Can you try saying something, Dan, for us? I am unable to hear you. I see you in here. Can you use the second link I provided for you?
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh, I can hear you now. There we go.
Sorry, I wasn't detecting any of my audios or anything.
It's all good. So, any question? If anyone has any questions, just make sure to type them in chat at all. But going into these different drafts for game one, you obviously were going into Emilio, and you instantly picked the Nautilus. How comfortable are you going against Emilio at this point, seeing as he is a new champion?
Considering how many times I've played him and played against him, I think I'm pretty comfortable saying that Milio is basically useless into a hook. That being said, that Milio player actually played that just about as optimally as he could have in that possible matchup. So he actually did a pretty good job early.
I would have to agree. There's a lot of different. There weren't a lot of CCs to break out of with the Breath of Life, but I think Mimi definitely played that very well. You had a lot of scaling in with your Scion, Aurelion Soul, Jinx comp. Were you just wanting to just play for as much time as possible, or were you wanting to throw the lead in one of those to one of those particular scalers?
I mean, Quinn on ASOL got that lead pretty early, and he was farming so well. He was at one point he was 10 CS a minute, and at one point, probably around about 20 minutes, we realized we needed to start pushing our lead because we were planning on scaling, but we had gotten up to where we needed to be so fast that we started playing more aggressive at that point.
So, with a lot of those team fights, were you worried about like what was the number one concern you had? Were you worried about like the Zac jumping over the wall leading into a Yasuo, like in the Yasuo ult, or were you more worried about the Samira?
Well, they picked a funnel Yasuo ult, but their Samira really had the lead early, so we focused on shutting her down first in team fights, and then we were pretty comfortable going into the game that we had enough peel for Jinx in between me, Udyr, and Scion that she would be able to kite pretty effectively, which I think was true for most of the team fights. They were just never able to execute exactly what they wanted, which was a big knock up into a big Yasuo ult, into a big Samira ult.
All right, so I'm getting a bunch of questions in chat. So and now everyone's asking, why did you flash in base game 3? What was going through your mind at that particular moment, having ruined the quote unquote perfect game?
Well, first of all, everyone on my team was bait pinging me, blaming me, even though I told Brandon he needed to Shen ult me, and then he Shen ulted the Rise that was at full HP, and we ruined the perfect game. So as soon as I spawned, I burned my flash.
You are blameless in this action.
Yes.
It is on the heads of your teammates.
I have the comms recorded. I said, Brandon, ult me, and then he instantly ulted Quinn.
That's great. Oh, and okay, we're getting Leaky responding saying no. So this is going to be an in-house debate between y'all. So good luck figuring this one out in the post game. But looking into game 2, this time We Strike First took a lot of your comp options right out of the gate. They took the Jinx, they took Udyr, they took what usually Leaky Wallow is known for is his Ornn. So were you guys worried that they took a lot of your scaling?
No. We had the idea going into this game, me and our ADC Regan were talking, and we said Jinx was pick ban, and then I had amnesia during this pick ban phase, and we didn't pick or ban her after we had just seen how she was in game 1. So that was the first mistake, and then picking Udyr away from our jungler was pretty good because he's very good on Udyr. And then Brandon doesn't really like playing Ornn as much anymore, even though he will when I slave draft him. But I think they just had a better overall comp than we did.
So, and in the games with Jinx, Fearless was very, very confident. I was very, very confident on that Jinx pick, but for the Sivir pickup, definitely and had a massive dip in like CS by comparison. Is Sivir in like an uncomfortable pick for Fearless?
He doesn't really play her outside of comp, and I don't think we drafted her in a while, so I think he was just really rusty.
Okay.
Yeah, it was rust, and we've never played that particular lane before, Milio Sivir. So there were
Yeah.
some times where we had trade windows, but Regan didn't realize, and we were too late to trade. And I think he was just rusty.
Gotcha. So was it draft confusion in general, or just you wanted to try this? You thought that was good lane to go up against the Jinx Lulu, to at least go up against the Jinx. I should say.
We wanted to pick an enchanter because I figured he was going to go enchanter. I figured he was going to go Milio, so I took the Milio away. And then I think we had played into maybe you and somebody else that had Milio Sivir, and I thought it was a decent lane. So that was the plan, was to pick Sivir there.
Gotcha. I was gonna say for games 1 and 3, I think you guys had a very, very good setup before draft, but game 2 definitely, I would say, in my mind, dominantly went over We Strike First.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
But for that final game, for lack of better terms, what a stomp. What was going through your mind? Obviously, you were able to just get 8 kills onto Fearless, I think, pre-20-minute mark. Were you thinking that this game was just going to be that volatile and that just funneled into Fearless?
Yeah, if there's anything I can suggest to anyone that plays against us is to never let me draft Rakan.
Wow, what an absolute call out. But that's good to hear.
It's I'm extremely confident on funneling ADCs on that particular champion.
Okay, yeah, I'm very confident with the quickness.
Yeah, and his just ability to lock down and peel.
All right, I guess one last question. Why Rise?
We were between a few different champions there. And Quinn had expressed to me recently that he likes Rise, and he's played him in quite a few games recently. And we like his damage, we like his utility, and into their particular comp with an Aatrox, Udyr, and Kai'Sa, they have just about as shorter range as he does. So besides the Victor, as long as he didn't get super behind in lane, he could absolutely do a lot of damage in these team fights because a lot of people are going to have to face check him.
Definitely. Yeah, I think there was a fair bit of options, but we just haven't seen a Rise in a kind of a hot minute. So I think it was quite nice to see. I'm like, I've been casted for season 13, 14, and now 15, and this is the first time I have seen the Wizard. So
I mean, you've played against us in the past. Quinn's champ pool has changed almost like 180 from when he started playing. So he's added so many comp specific champs that are really good for us in situations like these, and it's made a lot of our drafts improve.
Absolutely. Well, do you have any parting thoughts? Thank you very much also to the captain of the MiSFiTS for joining us here.
It was a good game. Enjoyed playing against We Strike First. Hope we see you guys in the playoffs. Don't leave my Rakan up.
All right. Thank you very much. And thank you, everyone, for joining us here today. Good luck on the Summoner's Rift. Good luck on winning your ranked games. Don't be losing that LP, but we shall see you around with the rest of Season 15.
Thanks, man.